Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
Today's Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
Feels like work. Shooting the shit for 2 hours, drinking beer and talking beer. What a wonderful experience.
Can we not have the barf bucket near my mixing board?
I think everybody could read the book.
I knew you were going to use this book as an excuse to quit doing this show.
Mrs. Bub, if you want, I can mail you the Bub Timer.
Yeah, Newcastle, especially in the can. Have you ever had it in the can? No, I have not had it in the can.
Notice I closed my eyes and I concentrated really hard.
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Well, all right. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
My name's Justin. We're back at the helm here tonight.
That's correct.
It's been a little while, a little holiday vacation, and then or holiday break for all of us, and then you guys at the helm last week for our Founders Show, which looked pretty cool.
It was a good show, man. I want to get those people back. They had to rush out and do a Q&A in the bar.
Yeah.
And which looked just like it consisted of a lot of drinking, which looked really fun.
Did people come out for that part? Like, were there people there asking them questions?
I don't know. We were in here, and then I was in here editing the show. So
it was bloggers, right?
Yeah, they said they were going to invite bloggers to do it.
Yeah, there were some bloggers there, but I moved all the people that I knew there over to talk to them and stuff.
Okay.
It was great. They did wonderful.
It was cool. Who's annoying is bloggers.
Bloggers are terrible.
I didn't talk to them.
Yeah. But we should have them back because they've been around for a long time. Yeah. They've been through. We were talking to them about how they've adjusted their beer styles and their targets based on based on what the market wants, right? The reverse. They were brewing beer what they thought the market wanted. It wasn't going well, so they're like, well, forget about it. Let's just brew what we want to drink. And then because they were going to go out of business, and then suddenly it turned them around. And it's just that kind of story. But we didn't have time to really get into too much about it. It was really cool. I'd really like to book them again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we had one of the founders in, right? So Dave Engbers. That was cool.
Dave was there. Yeah.
That's fun.
He seemed like a cool dude. He seemed like a hippie, like a younger Denny Conn.
Yeah, I met those guys in both GABF and I think when we were in Grand Rapids for
NHC.
The Homebrewers Conference, and that was my impression too. Really laid back hippie type guys. All right, well, tonight we've got Ol Republic Brewery on the show, and we're going to be speaking to the co-owner, Simon Olney. He's going to be on the program with us, talking to us about Ol Republic, who's a newer brewery in the area, right, Tasty?
Yeah, that's right.
And they focus on, I guess, what you call continental lagers. That's kind of how they started.
More of a lager, a little maybe Belgian kind of character.
Yeah. Well, they started, I think, to move away a little bit into some bigger beers and a Belgian program, which they seem to be really excited about. I know we've got a little bit of that on tap, and then we've got one of their award-winning beers. I think it's just about to tap. I've been waiting to try it.
You guys have been helping me.
I've been trying to kick the beer we're waiting for because it's one of my favorite beer styles. styles that they've won, I think, multiple awards for their Dortmunder export.
Exactly.
That's such a good style.
Yeah,
my God.
Great style. And have you had their version of it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially they won the Best of Show at the State Fair last year.
Okay,
which is a really competitive fair, of course, in California. And it was extraordinary.
Okay,
we had it in the market. I remember having it at Beer Week, which is just a few weeks away.
Yeah.
It was great.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to try that. So we're going to be talking to those guys. We got a big event here at the Hop Grenade tonight, actually. If you're local, come on down because it's Hen House and Friends, and Ol Republic is part of that. And we got some Society beer on tap.
Some Eagle Rock.
Some Eagle Rock
beers. Yep.
That's right.
Hen House, that's a distributor. A lot of people may not know that they're actually a beer distributor as well. It's not a Hen House like... They have some of their beers here.
Okay.
But Hen House, they have a distributor's license, evidently.
I should have known that before tonight, but I just learned it tonight. Yeah. So that's...
Well, that's not an executive boardroom kind of...
No, that's right. That's not in my realm. But that is cool, and they brought in some good beer. Yeah. I hear that... I don't know if that's under the Hen House distributorship or not, but I hear that Social Kitchen has a good pale ale on tap for me tonight. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. My staff is... I've been traveling a lot, so they knew in the beginning to always keep a pale ale on for me, right? But I've been traveling a lot, and when I come back for the last several... I get like a couple months now. They've been fucking slacking on the pale ales. I haven't seen Pale 31 on tap in a while, and so I had to... I always joke about it with them. I'm not trying to make anyone's life difficult, but I kind of had to come down hard and be like... Yeah,
can I get one fucking pale ale on tap here?
Yeah, I'm not asking for much here. No. Everyone else is going to drink it too. Just always, there must always be a pale ale on tap for me. That's all I ask.
That would be amazing, because I need something to drink.
Yeah.
It's been hard, because there's a lot of saisons and things and like lots of high alcohol beers that I don't want to drink. Yeah. I just want pale ales, because I think there's a pale ale renaissance happening. There's a lot of great pale ales out there now.
I was ahead of the curve.
If you're always at the curve, you're never really behind
I just stuck with the old curve, and I just and waited for it to come back.
Yeah, you waited on the one side while everyone traveled all the way around. It was like, hey, and you're like, welcome back, everybody.
Yeah.
You got lapped.
Hey, Guns N' Roses is back together too.
Or you got lapped.
I've stuck with that.
It's true.
I'm probably more likely that I got lapped. But yeah, I think my staff does a really great job of keeping a variety out there, and they're more in tune with what I think people come in here to drink, and the beer geeks and the beer fans that I am. They really are. Still, just one goddamn pale ale. So anyway, they got back on track since that last talk, and I guess tonight it's Social Kitchen. So I'll have to try that tonight. Yeah. And give it a shot. I'm fresh off the boat from New Orleans, guys.
New Orleans.
Yeah, it was just a surprise trip. Big Joe, everybody knows Big Joe, was going out there, and he invited me to go. So I've always wanted to go to that city. I wasn't even sure why. It just sounded like a good time.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
You know what? It's a JP.
Yeah.
It's your town.
I really want to go to New Orleans.
I thought about you a lot while I was there, which is a little weird. But, no, a lot of the places that I went... Okay, so, there's Bourbon Street.
Right.
Which you'll absolutely hate it.
Okay. I can imagine.
I would... If we had gone together, I would have dragged you there for one night, and you'd have experienced it because you have to.
You have to, totally.
But pretty much everything else I did was in your wheelhouse, man.
What'd you do?
So there's
sit at home and pet cats? Play Overwatch?
Yeah, there was a cat bar.
Yes, dude.
Yes. No, for one, there was really great food almost everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big seafood fan, but I'll dive into it just to try it. So there's a lot of that, but not just that. Creole food. The last meal that I had there was more just Southern food. It was just plain old fried chicken and red beans and rice.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was the best meal I had there, man. Oh, it was so good.
Oh, yeah.
And, I just think that the kind of culture, everyone's really very pleasant, very nice to you. So even in the dive bars, the bartenders are not dicks to you, JP.
Wow. I've only had one bar experience like that, and that's Tornado. The only bar I've ever been yelled at by the bartender.
I guess not yelled at, but I've been to some dickie bars, and especially when you get into the dive bar scene, which I enjoy. But there's a ton of dive bars there. They're all super cool.
Is it like the southern hospitality thing, or is it just like everyone's just kind of laid back? Because I imagine New Orleans is much more laid back than the rest of the South. I think the South is more laid back on the surface, but prim and proper underneath. And I think in New Orleans they just don't give a fuck. They're just kind of doing their thing. And if you want to come and watch them do their thing, then that's cool.
I would say you're right about that. I think it's kind of the California laid back meets Southern hospitality.
Okay.
Because people are like...
That sounds cool.
New Orleans is... this is my impression.
Yeah.
New Orleans is not a place. It's like a lifestyle. And
like Hawaii.
Yeah, and the people that... In fact, almost everybody I met was from there. Not on Bourbon Street, but every Uber I took and anywhere. Are you from here? Everyone, and they stay. People stay. They only left for the floods, and they all came back.
Oh, wow.
And they very much embrace the lifestyle.
Okay.
And then just cool shit happens. My very first night there, we went to these two places right next to each other. One's a restaurant and bar called Jacquemo's. And right next to it is the Maple Leaf. And the Maple Leaf is kind of a historic jazz club, music club. And Jacquemo's is known for great food and drinks. And this is out of the French Quarter. So this is not in the little touristy zone, right? So this is where the locals go. We go into Jacquemo's and we meet the owner of the Maple Leaf. And he says to us, hey, you should... He starts buying us drinks. Really nice guy.
Nice.
Been there himself for over 20 years. Self-proclaimed he's basically said I think I have embraced the Mardi Gras lifestyle more than anybody I've ever met. And if you looked at him, he's had a hard life.
Rode hard, put away wet kind of a guy.
Okay, but super nice guy. He's like you should go to the show, and he writes us a free pass to the show on a napkin.
Oh, Jesus.
And we're like, who is this fucking guy?
I love that. That's great.
It turns out to be totally legit.
Okay.
He says you should come see the show because there's a band that's been playing every Tuesday night for over 20 years, and they're a New Orleans legend. But also, something cool might happen tonight.
All right.
So we go. There's four of us. Saves us $80 in cover charges with his little fucking napkins. Yeah. He ends up hanging out with us all night, too.
Oh, nice.
Halfway through the first set, we're watching.
Wait, hang on a second. Let me interrupt you real fast. What did you think was going to happen? Something cool? Because on your radar, that could be there's a bunch of blow. There's a burlesque show, or an airplane might hit the club. What did you think something cool would be? Or did you have anything in mind? Maybe I'm overthinking it.
No, you're doing fine.
Okay.
Except I'm altering the story a little bit. He told us what surprise might happen.
Oh, okay, got it. All right.
But basically, halfway through the first set, it's this awesome. First of all, it's this awesome brass band. They're really cool.
Okay.
Halfway through the first set, Flea jumps up on stage and starts playing bass.
Mike B. the Flea. Yeah.
Flea. And it's a room the size of the Hop Grenade. So it's 2,500 square feet.
Okay.
It's a tiny club, and so we're just a few feet away from Flea. And then it's also a little funny and awkward because they're all playing brass instruments and they're grooving, right?
Yeah.
But Flea's doing his normal Flea thing, and he's just jumping around like a fucking idiot. But he sounds awesome.
Okay.
And I'm not the biggest Red Hot Chili Peppers fan.
Right.
But it's like the quintessential New Orleans experience where it's a music town, and you never know who's going to show up.
That's cool.
The other rumor was that Trombone Shorty was going to show up that night, who's
that'd be cool.
a New Orleans native, but that one never happened.
Yeah.
So cool stuff like that just happened. And then everything, and here's the part where it's bad for me, everything's open till 6 a.m.
Oh, God.
We were told to go to this other dive bar after the Maple Leaf, and he's like, don't even go there before 2 a.m. And he's like, and I've walked out of there at 9 a.m.
Wow.
So because the laws don't require you to close. So a lot of places are open 24 hours.
It's really whatever you want to do.
It's whatever you want to do, which is bad for me.
Yeah.
But great in general.
Right. You're the reason why we have laws.
So we did the Maple Leaf thing, and we left there, and we went to that dive bar that we were told not to go to before 2.
Yeah.
We actually didn't heed that advice. It was still a little early. Had a couple beers. We're smart enough to leave that before it got busy and fun.
Okay.
And then just went to this awesome cafe, this Greasy Spoon, about 3 in the morning. Asked for a drink. They're like, we don't have a drink, but the bar across the street does. And you can take everything in New Orleans to go.
Wow.
Every bar, every restaurant, every liquor store.
Oh.
Take it to go if you want.
You can walk around the street with open container?
Yep. So
Wow.
I walked across the street, ordered great Bloody Marys, took them back to our greasy breakfast, and had pork chops and eggs.
Jesus.
With my Bloody Mary.
Wow.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah. Yeah, so you can walk around. Turns out it was a gay bar, by the way, but I didn't know that till later.
Strap-ons come out after, too.
Yeah, there was nothing obvious happening. There wasn't like dicks touching in the corner or anything.
Not yet.
Turns out gay bars are just like every other bar.
Yeah, they are. As a matter of fact.
Bunch of people sitting around ordering drinks.
Yeah. Speaking of gay bars.
So that was a really good time. And just, anyway, the town in general, it's your jam, JP.
Okay.
I think between the food, the history.
Did you go to any of the cemeteries?
We tried. We were too late because most of them, you can go to some on the outskirts. And
they do like tours,
do
right?
a self tour, but the really good ones in the French Quarter, like the oldest ones, you have to do a tour. And we had just missed the last tour of the day.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit that's happening in New Orleans. I love that kind of stuff. You know, late 1800s, early 1900s Americana,
and the architecture shows it, and it just is a lot of it, and you just it's kind of it's a living history because a lot of that's still the same. Well, what do I know? But it looks what I think it would be the same.
Yeah.
And then I went to the World War II Museum.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
It's rated like the number 3 museum in the United States. And definitely like number 1 in the South. And I see why. This museum is incredible. So anybody, I would say, and we had the same thing happen to us that everybody who recommended it. You don't have enough time. You could spend a day there. And so I've seen like the Holocaust Museum, and I've always been interested in that side of World War II. And I think that's a lot of what's talked about. This, and it probably had a Holocaust side that we didn't make it to. This was more focused on the war as a whole, how it happened, where it happened, who it happened to, how the U.S. got involved, and it's really like it's curated amazing. It's not like you're not like looking at walls of pictures.
Right.
You're actually walking through. You're walking through a jungle at one point.
Oh wow.
You're walking through the beaches at one point. They have set it up so that you're in an environment, not just like in a stodgy museum.
A building with a bunch of stuff. And it sounds like they focus on a lot of stuff that you normally get in like high school, and then after that, like after you leave high school or college, for example, you're kind of just on your own if you want to dive into the history of World War II.
Yeah.
But for the most part, when you're in school, you learn about how we got into the war and whatever. And then afterwards, it's always about the Holocaust and the Nazis, and that's it.
Right.
Maybe a little bit of Japan when Pearl Harbor Day comes around, but that's kind of about it. So it sounds like it just kind of reinforced a lot of the stuff that you don't really hear a lot of.
It dove in deeper. Like it covered the whole war in the Pacific, that entire thing, and then also where and how we got involved in Europe. You know, like. I never knew that we landed on the shores of Italy as one of our entry points into the European War. And I guess I would have if I had studied that more. But that's something I got to learn, and how
that's cool,
and how fucked up that portion of the of the battle. It's so much stuff. So I recommend that you go, JP.
Okay.
I recommend to anybody that you go to the World War II Museum. The Maple Leaf Cafe had some awesome music. None of these people are paying me for plugs here, or just my experience. And then, you know what? Almost anywhere. Just jump in an Uber and ask them for food recommendations.
Oh, wow.
They all say basically the same places. You get a new gem here and there, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But they all, so you know that the recommendations are legit because people are naming the same places. Most of them are outside of the French Quarter.
I can imagine.
To go get and the food's cheap and good, and the beer's okay.
Okay. A lot of Abita.
It's Abita land.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Abita.
I love Turbo Dog, dude. That's the best beer.
I've been a fan since they did our show years ago.
Yeah.
And so I you know what? Even their flagship, which is everywhere, just the Abita Amber, I got no problem with that beer.
Yeah.
I'll drink that all the time, and I drank quite a bit of it. I did drink it on a dirty line at one dive bar. It reminded me, folks, just remember this, okay? When you go to a dive bar... So I just forget sometimes, but
bottle beer.
I can tell pretty well if they're going to give a shit about the beer. Even if it's a dive bar. Like sometimes a really divey bar, you can tell they give a shit about the beer.
Just their attitude, or
yeah, a little bit about the attitude. You know what? More even like the selection. Like you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
Okay, if they're going to have All right, so if it's just Abita Amber, right, and maybe not one of Abita's down the pipe beers on tap, don't bother ordering a beer on tap.
Okay.
And here's why. The lines are always filthy. So I have been drinking Abita Amber quite a bit. I go in, $4 draft, sure, I'll take it. And it just was diacetyl and nastiness, and I know it wasn't the beer. I know this beer.
Right, because you've been drinking it all friggin' week.
And I can just, in my head, I can see the line. Like, I know what it looks like, and I know what the layer of filth, of yellow filth, looks like.
That's probably been in there since the bar was built.
I also know that I can't give this beer back to this bartender because he gives zero fucks about what I'm talking about. And and I'm going to start to say, well, your beer lines are dirty, or and I'm all for correcting a bar that cares. But I'm not for, spinning my own wheels and looking like the asshole who's complaining about a whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, but that's the point of the dive bar is that they don't care.
Right.
They don't keep up with trends, no matter in decoration, in serving, but also in beer storage. Right. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They're a dive bar. That's literally what you go there for.
So raise your hand if you think I dumped the beer out.
Of course you did.
No, I think you drank the shit out of it.
You didn't drink it. I don't know if you actually dumped it out, but
I chugged it.
Yeah, you have to.
JP knows Well, I paid for it, and I knew he was going to charge me for it, and I wasn't going to get it.
$4? I have higher principles. I'm not going to drink shitty beer.
He needs to drive the alcohol in as hard as possible, and whenever possible.
2 more other good beers, or get bottle beers.
Well,
I don't disagree with you. Logically, I agree with you, and I think. And by the way, when I do this,
poor white trash thing. That's
exactly what it is.
Because when I do this kind of thing, your voices are in my head. I always think of you guys.
What are you doing?
I'm always like, Tasty would never.
What did he do?
As I'm chugging it, in my head, I'm going, Tasty would never. He would have. Why? And then it's kind of like, how right when you finish jerking off, you just kind of feel like an asshole.
You feel weird, yeah. Or even after sex, I feel real weird.
You're like, oh, God, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, why did I choke him?
That's me.
Instant shame.
Yeah. You're like,
this is me after a beer. But I can't. It's harder for me to let it go. So I just drink it fast enough that I barely taste it.
Smart. Yeah. I think that's smart.
Yeah, somewhere in the Tenderloin there's a drunk that needs a beer. I mean, come on.
You're right. Well, and in New Orleans, I could have walked out with it and handed. Okay, that's a good point.
There you go. There you could.
And here you can't do that.
Oh, like leftovers.
Yeah. Box this up for me.
Well, if you would have complained, they would have just poured you another beer probably, and
charged me for both.
Right, and give it to you in one of those glasses that have been pre-spit in.
Yes, where they wipe it out for me. Well, the point of that story was it reminded me, just order bottled beer.
Yes, order bottled beer.
Every dive bar on Bourbon Street did have good bottled beer at least from Abita.
Okay.
And then also from NOLA. I think we've had NOLA on the show, too.
Yes.
Yes. NOLA Pale Ale is a great beer.
Okay.
And so you can find all that everywhere, too. So just remember, folks at home, if you're unclear about the beer, even if you recognize it on tap, like everyone thinks, oh, Sierra Nevada, like never going to go wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Order it in a bottle then.
Yeah.
And then you'll never go wrong with it.
Right.
Pretty much. All right. I got to get us moving. Sorry, but it's a cool town, and JP, I urge you to put it on your vacation list.
Yeah, you'd like it.
Right? It's his town, man.
I think it'd be great.
Because there's new people every 20 seconds, so you don't have to be put up with anybody.
Yeah.
I don't like new people so much.
But you get new people after new people, so if somebody's annoying you, then...
And the music isn't douchey, like it's all...
Yeah, I like that. I like jazz a lot, and I like that kind of fast kind of jazz, not the slow, weird
You get
jazz.
that, you get swing, you also get some rock. There's some cool rock.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
It sounds like Austin, but less humid and less hot.
You know what? It's about 100 times cooler than Austin.
Really?
And
I love Austin. Austin's rad. So how's the homebrew scene out there? I think we should start working with homebrew clubs in the New Orleans area.
We probably should.
Let's bring NHC there.
Oh my God. No.
Too many deaths.
Yeah, we would never see you.
Yeah. So great idea.
Okay.
And we could call it, and that BN party would be Justin's last stand. That's what we would call it.
That's fine.
It's just like it's very similar to Vegas in the sense that you shouldn't go for more than 3 days.
Yeah.
That was my... If you're a person like me.
Yeah, I'm not in some regard, but I don't know.
It just you can just keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
Nothing ever closes.
See, that part is cool. Like Doc's saying, like all like the cool stuff, like the new. It sounds like there's something new around every corner.
Yeah,
that would keep me going. The alcohol, I don't necessarily need to. That doesn't drive me. But seeing the new things, I would just go out and out, and then I'd be lost somewhere in the swamp.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, the swamp's far enough away. You might instead just fall into the Mississippi, which is right there.
I did Mardi Gras mid-'90s.
Yeah.
And what did we do, 5 days?
God.
Holy fuck. I got lost every night. Separated from the pack.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Very busy.
But it's also a
you get lost at NHC.
Just walking down the street.
Yeah, you get separated from the pack in the hotel room of NHC.
You should always have handlers, Doc.
Now he knows that.
This is pre-handlers.
Yeah.
It also, and I'll give you an example, it kind of makes you just want to kind of get out of your shell a little bit and experience things. And I'll give you an example. Kate the Great.
Yeah.
You all know her. Pretty conservative girl.
What T-shirt?
Got a tattoo, rode a bull, and threw her bra at a band.
Wow.
All in 3 days.
That's pretty good.
Wow. I was like,
that doesn't sound... Who is
are
that?
you?
Right. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. Weird shit happens in New Orleans.
Yeah.
What did she get a tattoo of?
The fleur-de-lis.
The New Orleans Saints?
The New Orleans Saints symbol, basically. The fleur-de-lis.
The Boy Scouty looking thing?
Which ironically, she had wanted that for quite some time. The actual design wasn't spontaneous. Getting the tattoo was. And not because she's attached to New Orleans, but I guess it has a bunch of meanings that are actually very much Kate the Great and not me. Like dignity.
Respect.
Broth rower. Oh, no, that's right. Outside of that.
Yeah. So
good for her.
Yeah, she went for it. And so it was a good time. And then just briefly, we also met Token there. You guys remember Token? Yeah,
Terrace is there.
Oh, random.
Token's from New Orleans.
That dude.
He doesn't live there anymore, but just happened to be there visiting his family. Saw I was there, shot me a text, and we ended up hanging out with him for a night.
Very nice.
He says we got him drunk. He kind of ghosted on us. Like, he didn't sully us or anything. He said his goodbyes, but I thought he was fine. Like, he holds it together well. He texted me a couple days later, and he's like, "Man, I was fucked up. I just didn't know until it hit me." So
I love that dude.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun. So thanks for showing us around, Terrace. All right, let me get through this stuff quick. Spring Brews Festival is happening Saturday, April 1st. That's the festival formerly known as Winter Brews Festival. So we're going to do that Saturday, April 1st. Yeah, so mark your calendars. We'll put up a ticket site soon so you can do pre-sale and all that. It's the same great fest that you know and love, and we'll get all the great brewers there as well. So, all right.
When? I'm sorry, when did you say?
Saturday, April 1st.
All right.
Are you trying to talk to me, Bevo?
No, for some reason I was logged in as you, and I don't know how.
Yeah, somehow I was getting messages from JP, but it said your name. I was really confused.
Yeah, so sorry about that.
He was like, "I want pokey," but I thought it was you, and I was like, "What? I like fish."
I want the other kind of pokey, Bevo.
Stop it.
Pokey.
All right, you can support us by doing your Amazon shopping both in the U.S. and the U.K. Just hit the Amazon link on our homepage. Subscribe and join the BN Army. Make sure, if you're a subscriber, that your PayPal address is current, by the way, because we do the More Beer monthly donation for everybody who is a recurring donor, and that enters you to win $100 to More Beer, which is a lot of cash that they give away to the BN Army. So just become a recurring donor. It's a great way to support us. Get this information, or most likely other information, over on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I don't know if you know we have that, but Kim Shimke does a great job of that. Send your show ideas over to bevo@thebrewingnetwork.com or feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com, and you can send feedback to feedback as well. That's what it's there for. All right. Do we have a Twitter game today?
We do have a Twitter game.
Twitter game is brought to you today by the Wine and Hop Shop. Just go to wineandhop.com and check them out. They're good friends of ours and wonderful sponsors. So go check them out at wineandhop.com.
Okay, thank you, Justin. I wanted you guys to answer this question. What's up, Tasty? As if you were Tasty and somebody was asking you, what's up? I want you to answer, what's up, Tasty?
The old What Would Tasty Say game.
Yeah,
but much more personable. It's like
the home edition's coming out soon.
Yeah, it's like a video game. It's like a virtual reality. You are Tasty right now.
I heard last week's Twitter game was cool. Was it about how I always do the year of, and what is this the year of? Like, no, I don't do resolutions?
What's Justin in New Orleans for?
Oh, that's not what Beardy or somebody said to me.
Well, Beardy made it up, so if he
No, he didn't. You did, because remember, I was like, do you want me to help? I was like, hey, do you want me to help you make the Twitter game? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. So I didn't do it.
What Beardy said was far better. But I mean, that's cool. But he's just like, I always do like this one's the year of travel, this one's the year.
That's true. You do.
And that's what he said it was going to be.
No,
and,
that's not what it was at all.
Oh, well, that's a bummer. Because I would have liked to hear, because I haven't decided yet, and I need ideas.
Is he high?
So
he might have been.
Yeah, he probably was. All right, well, that's our Twitter game brought to you today by Wine and Hop Shop. And how about some feedback? Should we do that real quick?
Let's do it.
All right, we only got a couple things. Feedback's brought to you today by our friend John at the Beer Law Center. You can go to beerlawcenter.com and check it out. John takes care of our trademark. He can take care of yours, too. He also does all the brewery paperwork, filing, you name it. But go find out more over at beerlawcenter.com. All right, Johnny writes in, hey, guys, and Bev, have you thought about creating a Facebook group for listeners? It could be a good addition to the forum. I also had a segment suggestion, the Pico Brewcaster Challenge. I know it probably won't happen, but it brings back a great segment and involves a sponsor. Thanks from Johnny. First of all, don't we have a Facebook group? It's probably like a private one.
Who knows? I have no idea.
And I don't understand the purpose. Like, we have a Facebook page.
We have a Facebook page, but just, I mean, I know it's in addition to the forum, but then you miss out on the information on the forum if you're just hanging out on the Facebook page, because that's what tends to happen. People can't focus on too many things, so just go to the forum.
Yeah.
Treat that like your Facebook group.
I also think there's a Facebook group, so
I'm sure there is.
That we don't manage or anything. I think it was started by our listeners. So I just don't know if it's active or anything, but you can go look for
I'm sure
that.
You can search for it, and it'll tell you if it's closed.
But you can request access to it, even if it is. So so do that. It's too many things to manage.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the Pico Brewcaster Challenge, although
we've sort of already done that twice.
The Brewcaster Challenge, but we never really finished with you guys, though, did we?
No.
Scheduled it.
We're co-champions.
I think you guys Tasty brewed anyway. And,
I did.
Oh, you both brewed.
Doc brewed. I brewed.
Oh, I thought I was waiting on Doc to brew.
No, that's come and gone.
No. Did you do it on the show? You didn't bring him into the show, though.
No.
You brewed him, and then we left it hanging.
Yeah, and then I drank
it. They got old. Mine got old.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't make us test on those, for sure. Do we want to fucking finish this thing, or do you just want to be co-victors?
We have to finish it. We have to.
Especially
Is anybody asking for it?
It's been like 2 years in the making, man.
Oh, yeah. Babies have been born. People have died.
Yeah.
Poor Tasty hated brewing that thing the first time. Now
what was it again? I forget.
It was like a Gruit or some bullshit, wasn't it?
No. It was
Spice beer.
Spice beer.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, there you go. I mean, you can borrow Doc's friggin' Pico brew.
I thought I was waiting on you to brew it, Doc.
Well, I got this.
You got.
No, remember I had a triple, and you had some. You said, "Oh, that's really good," and then
shit, and then nothing.
Yeah, that was it.
That's weird. All right, we'll talk about it off air. See if we want to do it. All right, David wrote in, the Founder Show isn't there. You finally have a brewery for my home state, and I can't download it. What the fuck? Nothing gets done when Justin's on vacation. That's not true. Actually, I've been really good on vacation recently, but you're right. The Founder Show didn't go up until today. But it's there now, David. So sorry about the delay. Epileptic Brewer writes it. I think he's really... If he's not really epileptic, it's not a very cool name, is it? No. If he is epileptic, I feel like it's a dangerous thing to be doing.
Especially on this show, because I'm like biting my tongue.
I got a feeling he is.
Right. I hope like he wears...
at least like...
Hope he wears like a welding outfit and shit.
I'm just hoping it's only petite mal seizures, not grand mal.
He's probably on the weed and shit. It's fine. All right. Hey, guys, in Vivo, he says...
Darth Maul.
I wanted to say I've been enjoying the shows for years now, and you've been an immense help in advancing my home brewing. Unfortunately, you've done too good a job, which he says must be a first for us, as I've recently left the lab and have become a professional brewer at a small craft brewery near my home.
Nice. Yeah. Congrats, man.
That's never happened on this show.
Right. You know, if we had... How much? $100 from every brewer that went pro.
Jesus. For every listener that went pro?
Yeah, sorry, every listener that went pro.
$5,000 maybe?
No, I think more than that.
Yeah?
For the retroactives, yeah.
We had $1,000.
Every month we'd get a check, too.
$1,000 for every brewer.
If
It's like a finder.
No, they just want to thank us.
Yeah, the verbal tip, the old
we
verbal
appreciate.
tip.
Well, we will
Hand
have a
jobs
new
better than no jobs.
We will have a new brewery sponsor next month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
Neshaminy Creek Brewing.
Wow,
Welcome
that's
them to
a
the
mouthful.
session. And it is. We'll have to
Cool.
learn how to say it properly.
Say it again.
So it's happening.
Yeah.
Slowly and way too late, but it's happening.
It has been happening.
So that's
I've
good
noticed
news.
that.
Yeah.
I run into $250 a year donors all the time that say they donate because they got professional brewers.
Oh, that's nice. Remember the guy at NHC this year? I talked about this. He gave us $1 for every show. Mm-hmm. Which turned out to be something like $1,200.
It was $1,200.
He came to NHC. He's a professional now, and he just said to Bevo, I wasn't at the booth, he said to Bevo, hey, so I am thankful for the shows and the education I've gotten, so I wanted to give you $1 for every show. And I'm sure Bevo's thinking like, well, okay, whatever. And then he hands her a $1,200 check.
And then I cried.
Just a regular guy. Yeah.
It totally happened.
And then what happened?
Wow.
We went to the strip club.
Shit.
What do we always do?
What else would he want?
Yeah. So that was cool. Anyhow.
Stripper money.
Okay, he does say, this, of course, means that I'm broke as fuck and will have to temporarily give up such luxuries as supporting Justin's stupid travel plans.
Uh-huh.
So not only is this guy not going to become a sponsor, he's going to drop his donations. This is fucked up.
It's hard times,
dude.
He asked, is Justin even there today? Oh, well, I am.
Wow, he's going after you.
You fucking asshole.
Going after you.
We should, what the hell?
Really, your $2 a month you had to drop off because you were stupid enough to leave your good lab job and become a professional brewer, otherwise known as a janitor. By the way, you probably get paid better as a janitor because most of those are union jobs. Nice janitor in a school district.
Get a job on BART.
Forget about brewing.
Yeah.
What job?
Okay, but here it is, the verbal thank you. I want to send a huge thanks to Palmer, Jamil, Tasty, Doc, Warren, Bevo, Scott, Jay, and Nate for all the great info and putting on a great show. A small begrudging thanks to JP for all the information and putting on a show.
Yeah.
And a small thanks to Justin as well, but only if he's actually there today.
So there you go. You've earned a thanks.
Yeah, you can keep your fucking thanks.
It doesn't keep you warm at night. You can't put a thanks into the fire.
He takes his money away and he gets a pound of flesh at the same time. How's he winning twice? We're losing twice.
He says he'll start contributing again when he can afford it. Let me know if you end up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Why would we let you know? What are you going to do? What are you going to do for me? You can't buy me a beer. If you can't pay $2 a month, you can't buy us all a beer in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Well, we want you to berate us.
Yeah. So
give us a nasty email
again. Going to hang out so you can call us a dickhead all day?
Yeah.
All right, I'm kidding. Epileptic Brewer, well done. Congratulations. I wish you luck.
Thanks for the appreciation.
Yeah. All right, let's do this. We got to get to a break, and when we come back, it's time to talk to Ol Republic Brewery.
Ol Republic, baby.
I got to get that Dortmunder in my glass.
Yeah,
Me too. Right?
Be on tap. Yeah. Award medal winning Dortmunder.
Yes. Liquids.
Yeah, and others. So hang in there. We'll be right back with Simon from Ol Republic Brewery. You're listening to The Session.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
The Vault, created by White Labs. The Vault is a collection of new, creative, and unique yeast strains from around the world. These strains have never been available to homebrewers. Most have not even been available to professionals. You have the power to release the yeast. Through The Vault, White Labs is giving you the power to decide which strains are put into production and giving you the opportunity to brew with these strains. Visit whitelabs.com/thevault and pre-order the yeast strain of your choice and encourage your friends to do the same. Once 250 pre-orders have been achieved, White Labs will put that strain into production. The strain will be mailed directly to your doorstep, ready to make the beer you've always wanted to brew. This program was created with the homebrewer in mind. White Labs is relying on you to help release these strains, which may blaze the way for future new and unique beers. Help release the yeast. Visit whitelabs.com/thevault.
Brewing great beer is a process of continuous learning, and the best books on every aspect of brewing can be found at Brewers Publications, with more than 50 awesome titles like Modern Homebrew Recipes by Gordon Strong, Designing Great Beers, The Ultimate Guide to Brewing Classic Beer Styles by Ray Daniels, American Sour Beers, Innovative Techniques for Mixed Fermentations by Michael Tonsmeyer, For the Love of Hops, The Practical Guide to Aroma, Bitterness, and the Culture of Hops by Stan Hieronymus, and Radical Brewing, Recipes, Tales, and World-Altering Meditations in a Glass by Randy Mosher, plus many, many more. These are the books and the authors with the knowledge to push your brewing farther than you thought possible. And you'll find them all at fine homebrew and book retailers everywhere. And visit the website at brewerspublications.com. Brewers Publications, all the best on beer and brewing.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing, and like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Marin Brewing Company in Northern California has been making award-winning beers for more than 25 freaking years. Today, I want to tell you about their new 12-ounce cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale. The good stuff, Mount Tam is bright gold, 5.5% ABV to keep you feeling good, and has been winning awards since 1989. If you're visiting the Bay Area, get your butt out to Marin Brewing Company. They pour tasty beers and serve great food every day until midnight. Come in for a tour, stay for the food, and pick up a 6-pack of cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale to enjoy at home, camping, biking, or whatever the hell you do. Owner Brendan Moylan has this to say about Marin Brewing beers.
It's freaking awesome.
Marin Brewing has won more than 100 gold medals in international competitions. Check out marinbrewing.com for all their award-winning beers, food, and merch. Marin Brewing Company in Larkspur, California. Award-winning taste, refreshing finish. It's freaking awesome.
This is Corey King from Side Project Brewing, and you're listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
All right, welcome back to the program. Thanks for sticking with us. We are hanging out with Ol Republic Brewing Company today and drinking their beer.
Yeah.
Which is really good. We're going to talk about that in a second. But before we do that, Grog Tag. Don't forget about Grog Tag. Homebrewing's all about expression. You make the beer the way you want it. It tastes the way you want it. Why not make it look the way you want it? With Grog Tag, you can make your labeling dream a reality. Use their pre-made templates or upload your own artwork to create the best thing about your beer, the labels. That actually would be the best thing about my beer.
Right. Yeah.
They also have custom bottle caps, metal signs, coasters, and even tap handles, all outfitted with whatever kooky thing you can come up with. So head over to grogtag.com today, and here's what you can do. Get 10% off when you enter code JAN17, JAN17, and get 10% off your order at grogtag.com. Go check them out. Good friends of ours who've been taking care of us for a long time, and they take care of you, too. Go check them. All right, so today on the show, we've got Simon Olney. Am I saying the last name right, Simon?
Near enough.
Near enough?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Olney.
Olney.
Yes.
So a little more on the
It's a lifetime of correcting people.
Yeah. You've stopped correcting, right?
Yeah, I'm done with it.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's always strange,
annoying, dude.
If the name is grossly misrepresented, then I get it. But sometimes, like, when you get it just a little wrong, I never understand when people correct anymore. Especially like at our age, right? And I'm just like, it's enough already. Fuck it.
I used to do it a lot.
Who cares?
Because people always, growing up, Petros.
Yeah.
Petros, and it's, if you just sound it out, Petros, that's the way it is. It's not hard to do, but it's always Petros.
But would you,
look at Petros!
But nowadays, would you correct that? Because
yes.
I think that would make you a dick.
I'm a dick. Well, hi, my name's Jason. I'm a total asshole. I've never met before. It depends on the situation.
Okay.
The first day in grade school. And that new teacher's going to butcher your name. And if you don't correct her right then
it's
you're
the rest of your
for the
life.
Rest of the year.
Yeah.
Even when people call me Jason, I was like, whatever.
I thought that was your name.
See, exactly. But now if they call me Tasty or something, then I'm like, whoa.
Then you never correct them.
Sometimes it needs clarification.
But if you want to build a history of that person, you got to, because then they're going to feel like an asshole. That's the way I think about it. They're going to feel like a dick if they hear someone else call you, hey, Tom, and they call you, Barbara.
It's true.
They're just,
You're right about that.
I'm doing it for you.
There's a whole etiquette there.
Thank you.
All right, so Simon's from Ol Republic Brewery. Where are you guys from?
We are Nevada City.
Okay.
California.
Yeah.
Most people think that's actually in Nevada, but it's not.
Yeah.
So it's up in the Sierra foothills, just a little north of Auburn.
Okay.
From here, about 3 hours.
Was it recently taken by the British? Or
Yes. I invaded that myself.
It's part of Brexit.
Exactly right. we all had to go somewhere.
And we won Nevada City, too. Okay, you can have it.
So, yes, I am English. And actually, my business partner, Jim, was born in Germany.
Okay.
Well, go figure why we make German lagers and English ales. So,
So I mentioned that early on in the show that you guys, I guess a lot of people will call that realm Continental lagers. Is that the right term?
Yeah, no, that's a good way of saying it. I'm always very defensive of England not being a part of Europe.
Okay.
And so I always say, continental lagers and English ales.
Okay.
Very specifically, but we can say continental beer.
Okay.
And I'll let you get away with that.
And you're fine with that.
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
So as a concept, when the two of what's your partner's name?
Jim.
Okay. So when you and Jim started Ol Republic, it was to pay an ode to these kind of continental beers that you guys.
Yeah, sort of. Jim and I were actually brothers-in-law. And,
the family business.
Got that right.
Shit.
And so when we met back in '95, we had both been homebrewing for a long period of time, and then started homebrewing together, obviously.
Okay.
And then we both went off in different ways. He was working with some wineries in Lodi and in Napa.
Okay.
I own my own business in Sacramento.
Which was what?
Graphic design, actually.
Okay.
So, Brew Grog or whatever it was that you were just talking about. Grog Tag, there you go, see?
Yep.
Taking business away from the graphic designer.
Yeah, it yourself.
But I ended up going back to England, working for a corporation in England. Jim was working for a pretty large winery in Napa, and we both just got a little, not disgruntled, but just fed up with the corporate world.
Yeah.
And I came back to Napa area for a wedding. And went out with Jim, rekindled a friendship and a relationship with him, and we actually got very drunk at Morimoto's.
I'm so happy this is part of the story. Yeah, okay.
And so the brewery actually was started on 3 bottles of sake.
Wow.
Yeah, I make my best decisions when I'm drunk.
Absolutely.
I really highly recommend that.
Yeah.
It's the real you.
All your decisions.
It's right bare bones. You can't make shit up then.
Exactly. It's all real right then, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So what did you say that night? That, hey, why don't we give this a shot? We both like brewing. We both homebrew. Maybe we should open something?
Yeah, it was along those lines. It was more like, shit, this sake's really good.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we drank 3 bottles of it. And like I said, we actually went a little while because I went back to England, carried on working, and we started Skyping a business plan of a very small nano brewery, really.
Okay.
And sort of have a pizza oven, that kind of thing, in Nevada City. And
who was living in Nevada City at this point?
Jim.
Just Jim.
Yes.
Okay.
And it didn't matter which way we cut the numbers. It just wasn't working. A nano brewery was not going to make a living for us.
Yeah.
And so it sort of grew into something more. We decided to go down the road of being a brewery without a food element, which seemed very popular at the time. I know Berryessa Brewing and a few others were doing that kind of same thing.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be the right way for us to go at that time. And so we bought a 7-barrel brewing system out of Canada. Which was actually somebody's home brewing system, believe it or not. Yeah, those
Some
Canadians,
rich
man.
Canadian asshole with a 7-barrel homebrew kit? Wow.
So the Canadian laws are different. Yeah, you can brew 7 barrels at a time at the Canadian home brewing level. So it's...
Who do they think they're sharing that
right?
with? This is like a block party every weekend. More than that. Jesus.
So we bought that. We started our brewing system with 4 or 5 fermenters and about 6 or 7 bright tanks.
Okay.
And we opened our brewery with the Black Lager, the Dead Canary, and our English IPA, our Stout, and our Frontier Amber, our California Common.
Okay.
So that's what we actually opened the brewery with. So a nice mix of English ales and German-style lagers. And
just to give some geographic element to our listeners who aren't from California, Nevada City it's not a bustling metropolis.
No, pretty small.
It's a smaller population. It's kind of up in is it the Sierra Foothills? Would you say that?
Sierra Foothills, Grass Valley, Nevada City, the gold rush of 1849, all that good stuff. Yeah.
And I bring this up just for my next question is, was your goal to really just service the area then, and did you do a business plan based on that that we could sell enough beer right here, or did you know you'd have to distribute?
Yes, to both. There was no brewery there at that time.
Okay.
Also, the water is spectacular.
It's just snow melt?
It is pretty much runoff water. It does go through the city system, but the city is very, very light on how they handle the water. The water is just really extraordinary.
Do you know the compounds in the water?
Not specifically. I did at one stage.
Okay.
Just because actually the city manager of the water plant used to come in and test the beer regularly. So
nice.
And Chris was a lot of fun. He said, "I'm just coming in here to check the beer and make sure it's okay." and so he used to give us those compound breakdowns.
Okay.
And like I said, I just really can't remember right now.
But whatever
it is,
you feel it really favors these continental styles.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
So in general, you would say the water's soft, I would assume?
It was.
Which would lend itself better to lagers.
Yes,
probably.
and then it gave us an opportunity. Basically, we were running it through a carbon filter, very, very simple. And then we would reintroduce salts to bring it back to where we wanted it to be for a Dortmund-style water or Munich or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So no other brewery in town, great water.
Mm-hmm.
But did you still think you'd have to sell more beer than just in the...
Oh, yeah. I think we realized that.
Yeah.
And Jim at that time was living and I'm living there now, but it was where we wanted to be as part of our cultural part of our life. We didn't want to be in a big city. We didn't want to have to drive from a town to a city, so we figured, we'll start a brewery there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lifestyle's a big part of it.
Yes, it is.
You probably know him, a friend of ours, the publisher of Celebrator magazine. Tom Daldorf is up there, right?
Daldorf, that's right.
He's in Nevada City, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
He keeps asking me to come hang out, and I'm like, God, it's way the fuck out there, man.
Yeah.
But he loves it.
Yeah.
I mean, the area just looks great.
No, he's great. He frequents our bar very often.
Cool.
We also frequent his house very often. We've actually been, Jim and myself, and also Dave from Three Forks Brewery and the other brewery there.
Okay.
We get invited to come in and taste beers for the magazine and all that stuff. So for us, it's an awesome opportunity to drink beer from all over the country.
And now you guys are like a little beer city up there.
I know.
So there is another brewery now.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Three Forks.
Three Forks Brewery, yes.
Yeah. How old are they now?
They are just coming up on 2 years. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you know what the population is in general?
Specifically, I think for Nevada City, it's about 3,000.
Okay.
But then you got Grass Valley over the hill.
Yeah.
I would say total vicinity is probably 30 to 40,000 people.
Okay.
Going out at some miles, you know.
Yeah.
That would be your market, basically. That
Pretty
people would
much.
come by and drink your beer.
Yes.
And that's so your format, brewery, tap room, no food?
Yes, at this time. We are starting to talk about a food element. We are also self-distributing up in the Tahoe Basin pretty well. Also, we are self-distributing very heavily in the Grass Valley, Nevada City, Auburn, going down into Sacramento. And then, of course, our friends at Hen House Brewing who take care of us in the Bay. And they do a great job for us. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. So now you're down in the Bay. Are you farther than...
That's it.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, at this time.
Okay.
There's discussion for Reno. There's also discussion for L.A. as well. So
got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's shift gears a little bit. We'll get back to kind of the history of the company, but because we have this nice and cold Dortmunder Export, what's this beer called?
This is a Dortmunder Export. It is called Dead Canary.
Okay. Which I understand has a great story behind the name, but the beer first. It's a great Dortmunder.
Mm-hmm.
It has that nice sweet malt character to it.
Yep. Little crisp bitterness thing happening.
Yeah, enough hops to take care of that sweetness.
Yeah.
I like when the sweetness isn't residual sugar, right? Like it's when it comes literally from that's what the malt is supposed to taste
it's
like.
Malt
It's
flavor.
such a better flavor than residual sweetness, right?
Well,
and this is a nice example of a Dortmunder.
Nicole's here. Maybe we can get a better example,
way better
vocabulary
description of
for residual sweetness.
Yeah, what do you say the difference? Like because sometimes I want to say, oh, that beer has such a nice sweetness to it, but then people might go, oh, great, it's a malty sweet beer, and
residual smacks. I think of like over sweet, where it's like
it's not
sticking your
sugar.
lips or whatever.
I really try to avoid using the word sweet unless we're talking about residual sweetness.
Okay.
Yeah, just because you're either going to turn people off or you're going to make people that want a sweet beer think that they're going to get a sweet beer, and this isn't a sweet beer.
And it's not. So that's exactly what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
So how would I describe that malt character that I'm trying to get at, which to me is some kind of sweetness, but I know that it's not sugar. It's just from just that great malt.
Kind of the impression that you get. So, like that graham crackeriness that you get from the Pilsner malt, and it's really strong in this beer. It's a really nice Pilsner malt that you're using.
We're using Wehrmann, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And and what we were talking with Tasty a little earlier as well is adjusting the salts of the beer before we start the mash. Is absolutely critical. And also, of course, the steps of the mash as well have got to be absolutely right on. This is, as they love to call it, a naked beer, and you got nothing to hide behind in this beer.
Yeah.
It is very. You can easily make a mess of making this beer.
Okay.
So
you do a traditional step mash, not just a single infusion?
For this beer, yes.
For this beer.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You have to. It's the only way you're going to get the flavor out of the malt.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of salt adjustments would lend to this beer? Just for our homebrew friends?
Yes.
Right?
That's a very good question. I wish Jim was here right now.
Well, Tasty makes a great one, too, a great Dortmunder, so maybe you guys can collaborate. But what kind of salt would I need to add?
I assume you're adding, sodium chloride.
Sodium chloride.
Calcium chloride,
Yes.
And,
yes.
That's going to help with that.
Here, sorry.
It'll bring the maltiness up.
That's going to help with that impression of that
subtle sweetness that you get right at the front, right at the first sip, right on the
sort of
tongue.
the grainy flavor that you get. Just a little bit of, you just get the actual flavor of the grain in that first mouthful.
And if you're depending on your dissolved solids, it sounds like they're pretty low. You probably want to use some calcium carbonate as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell that the water in this beer makes a big part
of
this beer.
Yeah.
You think, well, that's a no-brainer. Well, no, it matters how at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, there's no place to hide.
Right.
And if there's a little thing on the water that makes its way through, it changes it's what it is.
Yep.
Comes another flavor than what you taste in the water, but it's just something in the beer you can tell.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a great one.
Thank you.
It.
And it's just one malt.
100% Wehrmann Pilsner malt.
Okay, got it.
Step mashed.
Step mash then, okay. And then what kind of hops?
Noble.
Just all
of
noble
them.
hops, yeah.
All noble. So the bittering is Hallertauer, little Tettinger in it, and a little spice at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So single malt, single hop.
We actually blend a couple of hops in there.
Oh, you do? So
Yeah.
more than one noble.
But they're nobles. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's excellent.
It's wonderful.
It really is.
I could drink that for the rest of the night.
This beer won Best of Show at the California State Fair. Is that right?
Thank you for reminding me.
Well, they like that. It slips your mind all the time.
Yeah.
I remember when it did. I go, oh my God, a Dortmunder. It must be excellent.
It was
Best of Show judges.
It was
to
funny.
Pick that beer.
Mm-hmm. We were hopeful actually on some of our other beers that we'd entered.
Sure.
And Big Mike Moore called us and he said, "Your Dortmunder won Best of Show," and we both kind of had to take a seat. And first time in history, I think, that a light lager had ever won Best of Show.
Wow,
it was a big deal.
That is a big deal.
And the Vienna lager was.
Figaro's Vienna was second.
Oh no shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
I judged that. I judged that final round.
Yeah.
And then
Did you?
When we found out that the other beer was the. Another light lager.
Yeah, I think it's.
What's going on? Is this California?
The times are changing, baby.
It must have. Yeah, it probably upset a few people.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. I mean, we were ecstatic, of course, and to win Best of Show for any brewery with any beer is a big deal.
Yeah.
And to do that with a Dortmunder is, I think we were pretty proud of that.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah. It's real competitive. The California State Fair. We have a lot of great breweries here.
Mm-hmm.
They all
absolutely
for that.
Yes.
And Nicole, I would assume if this were being judged as a style, as a Dortmunder, that it would score very well in any type of.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It just fits right in there.
Yeah, for sure. Something though that you guys talked about the malt and the hops, but something that has to absolutely be masterful about this style is going to be your fermentation and your yeast choices and your yeast management. Because talk about having nothing to hide behind,
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like
we're very fortunate. We got fairly early on. We got involved with a company called Chillertron, and they actually manage white labs for all their yeast propagation.
Okay.
And we got involved with those guys fairly early on, and their management system is pretty extraordinary, actually. And we've been able to, in fact, I was looking at the bank. We have 12 fermenters right now. And, we talk to brewers, and brewers talk about, we maybe have a 1 or 2 degree swing in our fermentation. And we're like, okay, wow, that seems kind of a lot. And they're like, well, no, that's literally what we're at. I was looking at the bank the other day, and all 12 fermenters were within 1 degree.
Okay.
Total. All 12 of them.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, no, this system works pretty well.
Good.
It works really well. Yeah.
Nice.
So we've been really fortunate with that. Great support from those guys, and that's really helped us, I think, in the management of the fermentation. Our yeast management is pretty good. Okay. It has to be. When you're making this kind of beer, you got to be on it. Yeah.
Do you have just kind of a house lager yeast that you would use for this, or is this just a Dortmunder yeast?
It is a house lager yeast.
Okay.
Yes.
So same as the Vienna lager, for example?
We use a house lager strain, yes.
Okay.
So it does this one, it does our Vienna, does our black lager. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Does that have origins in Germany, I assume?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What temp? Do you know the temp that they?
Our fermentation for this beer is 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
That seems warm.
It's what we find works best.
Yeah? Is that not tasty?
No, 50-55 on most lager yeast.
Yep.
But the Wild Labs list is the optimum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, you think a lot of people like to do 45. I don't know what they're doing down there. There aren't any esters being created at 50.
Okay. Right. Got it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not tasting them, so I'm certainly not criticizing it. Just from what we hear here, I just thought that sounded a little warm.
I mean, there's no doubt, if you're fermenting at 50, your fermentation. I mean, our fermentation is pretty much 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And when you're doing ales, of course, is 4 days or whatever.
Yeah. It's burned through it. Okay. Well, before we go to break, tell us the story behind the name of this beer.
All right. Okay.
Which is...
Okay, so we called it Dead Canary. So the name came before the beer. We were in construction. We started construction on our place back in 2010. Really cool little building, well, actually subterranean building on 3 sides, and with glass front doors. It's really quite nice. Anyway, there was one small toilet in one corner, so inevitably we have concrete saws in there. We're cutting holes, we're cutting trenches and the likes of. And the first concrete saw we got, it was all great and everything's good. And then we had to cut some more, and we rented another one. And this one came with, like, the choke was stuck on or something.
Okay.
We basically spent an afternoon in there with this concrete saw going, gave ourselves carbon monoxide poisoning.
Wow. Shit.
And Jim and I go at the end of the night, we're like, whoa, man. I'm like, my head hurts a lot.
Yeah.
You think about the worst hangover you've ever had in your life. Like, think about college.
Yeah, it was just yesterday.
It was yesterday. Okay.
Fine.
And then kind of triple that and then add a couple more just for good measure. That's pretty much what it was like.
God.
Pounding pain.
Oh, wow.
And
did you know that this was happening, but you had to just keep going?
Well, no. The carbon monoxide, it kind of creeps up on you. You don't even realize you're intaking it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get home and we're recovering with a beer and laying on the couch.
As you do.
And and I was like, man, I said, you hear these stories of when they used to take the canaries down the mines for the gases and all that. And he's like, Jim's like, Dead Canary, what a great name for a beer.
Yeah.
So the irony of it, of course, is Dortmund is a mining region as well.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Nevada City, great mining area as well, and it has its great history. So it just kind of all sort of fell together as like Dead Canary Lager, Dead Canary Dortmunder, blah, blah, blah. So
it's so much better than what it could have been. Like
I know.
Dead Partner.
I'm dead.
Brewery never happened.
Everything's fucked. Like, it could have been really bad.
Yeah. I don't remember my name.
Exactly. We didn't for a couple of days, man. It was rough.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, passing out in front of the concrete saw.
Yeah,
that's long name.
Not cool. Good name. I like the story, and a really great beer. Well done on that.
Thank you very much.
Really glad to have you here today.
Yeah, so we got more beer to try tonight from Ol Republic, so hang in there with us. We're going to take a break here in just a second, but before we do, if you're looking for homebrew supplies, don't forget about our friends over at Great Fermentations. They have the largest catalog of Blickman products to help you make that badass brewery at home, and their staff's the best trained in the biz on using Blickman. They offer top-notch customer service and same-day shipping on many items. Check them out at greatfermentations.com, and go like them on Facebook at GR8 Fermentation, at GR8 Fermentation, and Instagram and Twitter as well at Great Fermentation. Go to greatfermentations.com and check them out. All right, when we come back, we've got some beer to try. What do we have on our list here? I see like a nice strong one for you, JP. Plus, we've got the Knights Cross Vienna Lager. We're going to do that one. And it's going to be a good night of beer here. So hang in there. We've got Ol Republic on the show with us. It's The Session.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support. Like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, they're amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer. Whether for yourself or as a gift, when you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
Are you looking for a simple brewing system that's great for all grain brewing, but everything on the market seems to be full of compromises? Blickman Engineering has the answer. The Blickman Brew Easy All Grain Brewing System. The Brew Easy is a complete system with easy upgrades and a beautiful compact design, perfect for any size brewing location. At its core, the Brew Easy is built on 2 gorgeous Blickman Boilermaker brew kettles, a high-temperature March pump, and either a top-tier gas burner or the new Boil Coil electric heater. The Brew Easy adapter lid allows the pots to stack on top of each other, forming an efficient, strong, and compact brewing setup that comes in 5, 10, and 20-gallon batch sizes. Upgrade your Brew Easy system with full automated control by adding a Blickman Tower of Power temp controller and make moving around easy with the Blickman Kettle Cart. The Brew Easy is modular. If you already own a Boilermaker kettle, you can build your Brew Easy by purchasing just the modules you need. The new Brew Easy all-grain brewing system. See it today at BlickmanEngineering.com and brew with Blickman quality on your new Brew Easy.
If you work in retail sales, the restaurant industry, or are a new craft beer enthusiast, or you know someone who is, you have got to check out Beer 101. Beer 101 is an online course created for anyone wanting a quick introduction to the vast world of craft beer. Beer 101 covers the history of beer, brewing ingredients and processes, vital stats like ABV, SRM, IBU, and gravity, styles, tasting, glassware, and pairing beer with food. The Beer 101 course is offered by the Brewers Association at craftbeer.com, also home to the truly awesome Beer Style Finder, a visual guide to every beer style. Quickly play with color, bitterness, and alcohol content to interactively explore the entire world of beer styles with a gorgeously designed interface to your favorite beverage. The new Beer 101 course and new Beer Style Finder are only available at craftbeer.com. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Hey, what's up? This is Blake from Creature Comforts. You're listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
Yes, welcome back to the show. We're hanging out with Ol Republic Brewery and having a good time, talking beer even at the breaks, because beer's so damn good.
That's what we do, baby.
And, great show you'll never hear.
We're just having a good time doing it.
You'll never know if we love it or not.
Someday, I should have been recording the breaks all these years.
Right,
and then
right.
when we're ready to retire or, people just laugh us out of the business or something, we could release the breaks tapes.
The breaks tapes.
Right? And all of the great conversations that have happened at the breaks, which some of them have been perverted. Most of them are just about great beer techniques. Yeah. But every now and then you get a little weird thing happening.
That's true.
But all for naught, because unless we're going to do this for another 10 years, I could start now. Recording the breaks,
but let's do it.
Right? I should just start recording.
I want to be on
them.
tape number one.
yeah, you will be. All right, real quick, don't forget about our friends over at the American Homebrewers Association. Simon here was a homebrewer. We were all homebrewers, and the American Homebrewers Association can help you be the best homebrewer you can. They also help keep it legal for you and make it legal for you for some of those who couldn't do it in states. Then you just get a bunch of cool stuff out of it, like Zymergy Magazine and the new Brew Guru Beer app, which tells you where all the benefits you get from the AHA membership are. For example, if you were walking down the street here in Concord next to the Hop Grenade, the Brew Guru app would tell you to come on in and get a discount on your beer.
Before you get mugged.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
It would say, go in fast. No, we have a nice neighborhood.
We do. I'm totally kidding.
In Concord,
nice.
We're in the 1 block radius. That is a nice neighborhood.
I'm mostly kidding.
Yeah, very low crime rate right here.
It does, yeah.
I almost feel safe when I walk to my car.
Yeah. High homeless, low crime.
Yes.
That's our city motto.
You actually look like you're in a bulletproof room here. And
I am.
She asked for that to be as specifically bulletproof.
I feel
double
safe.
duty. I asked for this to just be a wall. I didn't even want there to be a window.
All right, you can go to homebrewersassociation.org to get more information, or just click the AHA link on our homepage and become a member. Help us help you by doing that. All right, so we're still here with Simon, and I just tasted the Vienna Lager, which anyone who's been listening to the show for a while knows I'm a really big fan of this style.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we got invited up to Sierra Nevada for their beer camp program. It was the Brewing Network, the Hop Grenade, and Public House over in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And the style we chose to brew was Vienna Lager because so many of us were fans. It was called Slow Clap, by the way.
Well done.
We didn't want to go in there and make some just like hop forward crazy. We all loved Vienna Lager. This, just like the Dortmunder, is a great example of the style, man.
Yeah,
good job.
So back in the day, we're talking about the Canadian 7-barrel system that we had, and we were making our regular beers, what we call our legacy beers, and we wanted to start a project of beers that we decided we would call Project X.
Okay.
So Project X was a series of beers that either you didn't see in the marketplace very often, hence the Vienna Lager, or were beers that were so out of style as such that they weren't really classified as a style, but there was something that we were pretty excited about making.
Okay.
So the Project X series obviously includes this Vienna Lager, also includes our Dark Matter, which is a black Scotch ale, our Chocolipto, which is a cocoa husk-infused imperial chocolate stout.
Yum.
It is very yum.
Bevo's clapping.
And also a French style beer de garde that we do.
Nice.
Called Precious. Yes.
Okay.
And so there are other beers that are going to be added to this group of project beers. We've started our own barrel club now. We're actually now doing some barrel aging on some of these beers. And so this group of beers are very special. And back in the day when we were just doing 7 barrels, this Vienna we only made twice a year.
Wow. Okay.
And that was it. So it became extremely. You could only have it by the pint. We wouldn't even let it go out in growlers or in kegs to accounts. It was just you come to the tap room and you drink it, and when it's gone, it's gone. You got to wait another 6 months.
And it was popular in that way.
Oh yeah,
people would come down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me and I want to come back to this beer specifically, but on this concept of beers that you're doing. And now this was a few years ago now, but a friend of mine who opened a brewery, he thought, I don't have to put out an IPA. Okay, I'm gonna do these other beers, much like you guys have done, right? But he quickly learned that the market wasn't really ready for that, and that could he stay in business with that plan? Yes, probably so. But could he grow and become profitable and really become a part of this craft beer boom if he didn't do some of these popular styles, right? Mm-hmm. So he ended up keeping to his roots and doing these other stuff, but he had to produce a pale ale and an IPA.
Right.
Okay, so my question is, you guys seem to have been able to not necessarily have to do that.
Well, that's not strictly true. Actually, we do an American pale ale and we do an American IPA as well.
But did they affect your bottom line in the way that most people are like, hey, if you don't have an IPA, you can't stay in business?
Right. No.
Okay.
No. Absolutely not. We do it to complement and support the beer styles that we have.
Okay. Yeah.
And because we have people that come into the tap room and say, hey, I want an IPA.
Yeah.
And
it's like any bar service. Whenever you want a beer for everybody.
Exactly.
You make your own. You got to make a beer for everybody.
Yeah. So, we do an English IPA, Lucky Joe, and it's a awesome beer, but people that come into the brewery, they're like, no, I want an American one. I want that Simcoe hop and Centennial, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And which is great, and I have no problem with that. But at the same time, if I've got somebody coming into the brewery, into the tap room, then there's going to be that group that are going to say, no, I want that American IPA, and you really do need to provide that to them.
Sure.
So we've balanced that. Definitely, our focus is the lagers. Our focus is English ales, and then as a secondary part to it is our American style beers.
So I like that balance about it, and I agree with you. I think if I were a brewery owner, I would think the same way, that there's nothing wrong with producing beers that people are asking for. I think that's great.
No.
But I like that it's not the kind of end-all, be-all for your brand and for what you guys are doing. It's just kind of supplemental. And do you think that's a change in the consumer's palate recently, that now we've gone back to Vienna lagers? I remember not being able to find a good Vienna lager and complaining
you could
about
never
it.
find one.
And now I think I'm not saying it's rampant, but I feel
it's not a Goza, for God's sake.
We make a rampant Vienna. We do.
That'd be a good name.
It's rampant.
Rampant.
But I feel like I can find a good Vienna here and there now, right?
Jim and I have had this discussion a lot over the last 5 years, because when we started, Tom Doldorf came to us and said, "You're not making an American IPA?" He said, "What the hell's wrong with you two?" And we're like, we're not going to make an American IPA. We're going to do an English IPA,
Yeah.
And for 5 years, that's what we did. And like I said, last year, within the last 2 years, we started doing an American IPA and an American Pale Ale, and they sell well. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not the focus of what we do. We had another friend of ours saying, "Make an American IPA and be proud of it." Just because you do lagers and continental beers and English ales doesn't mean you can't do that. You make great beer. Just make great beer. And so we make a great American IPA.
That's true.
Versatility.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I think eventually it's going to be included in some act in the ADA, where every bar has to have you have to make an IPA, or else you're alienating some sort of weird subsect of people that can't get by without it.
Are you calling people that drink IPA disabled?
Yes.
Very much so.
Exactly what he's doing.
Palate disabled.
Well, he has a T-shirt that says it. Actually, sometimes he wears it.
It's just dirty right now.
Here's an interesting thing, though. My business partner Jim came from the wine industry. He worked for wineries in Napa and in Lodi, big production facilities plus smaller boutique wineries, and you hear the story about the Californian American wine industry and how White Zinfandel was big, and then Zinfandels, and then Merlot. Well, and people graduate, and they go past these introductory wines, and then now they're seeking out the Pinot Noirs and the more sophisticated type of wines. And I think that's what's happening with the beer industry right now. And Jim and I have had this discussion a lot, in that once that person gets past that introductory beer, whether it's an IPA or an amber or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden they're like, I want to try something else. I want to start experimenting, and I think that's where the sour beer explosion has happened, is that people are really wanting to experience different ways of drinking beer.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that now, where people now are coming back to us and saying, I want a really great lager.
Yeah.
And I want to try something with some depth. And oh my God, I can't believe you're making a lager that's this sophisticated and got this much flavor in it.
Right.
So that's exciting for us. We've been doing this now the last 5 years, and we haven't really changed our program, but people now are coming to us and saying, you guys are doing a great job. How long have you been doing it?
Well, and so that's an element that I want to add to this, because, of course, I just asked about the consumer's palate. And then you're mentioning, consumers just becoming more refined.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that when I started in this business, brewers weren't producing these styles as well as they are now either.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I could have found a Dortmunder, and I could have found a Vienna.
Yeah.
But they really weren't knocking my socks off. The beers that were knocking my socks off were pale ales and IPAs. And I guess I'm saying that the brewers have grown up too, not just the consumers.
Oh,
so now you guys are making, just because the style is sophisticated doesn't mean you can make a sophisticated one.
So you're saying I'm not sophisticated?
No, I'm saying you.
But he has an accent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't just get to skate by.
Yeah, come on.
Contrary to Bevo's popular belief, you don't just get to skate by. Actually, what I'm saying is that brewers like yourselves have become sophisticated in your brewing process, in your skill, in your trade.
There is no doubt. But here's the irony of the whole thing is that all that brewing experience and ability to make great beer was always there.
Yeah.
So all Jim and I did was look back into the past and say, wow, look at the way they're making beer. Look at the way the Germans are making beer. Look at the way the English are making the beer.
Right.
They're not just making beer. They're artfully creating this thing.
Yeah.
And that was where we got our inspiration. I mean, we were converting our homebrew system to completely and utterly automated managed system.
Wow.
To be able to manage our fermentation rates.
Yeah.
And, even down to using doing spoonding, right? So spoonding is a German way of stopping the beer from doing its full fermentation at 3 or 4 points above terminal gravity, and you bung it off, and then the yeast then is creating carbonation in the beer. It gives you that beautiful champagne style bubble, very, very light, very delicate, and it is an effervescence almost rather than carbon dioxide, you see what I'm saying?
I do see. It's not harsh and acidic.
Exactly.
It is more, I agree with you.
And it
smaller
fits,
bubble character.
Exactly. And it fits perfectly with that style of beer that we're doing with those German style lagers. That's what they require for that, for their carbonation.
Right.
So those are the things that we were looking at, but Germans have been doing this for hundreds of years. There's nothing new.
I'll agree with you that it was already
CO2
there,
delivery.
but it required brewers to spend the time to study that, figure out how to replicate, how to do it yourself. So I do agree with you that you're not reinventing the wheel.
We're not, yeah.
But in the beginning of, it wasn't even the beginning, in the middle of craft beer is about where I jumped in. I think still brewers just kind of, I'm going to do it my way. And I got the recipe for a Vienna lager. I got it. I know how to make a Vienna lager.
Right.
That's different than studying the techniques that it takes to produce this beer.
Yeah.
And so I think as brewers have matured, as much as the consumers have, now we get this.
Yes.
And so we do get more styles now because you are making them for us.
Yes.
In such a way that they... I think they do respect to the original style.
I think so. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, our Vienna is definitely a little more robust than most Viennas would be.
Ours was way robust when we brewed it.
It was real good, though.
It is a bigger beer. It is a higher alcohol beer. I think if Anton Dreyer was here today, I think he'd think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say there's another kind of cultural shift that we have to remember too, is that we've moved beyond craft brewers having to fight to differentiate themselves from the big guy. So, think back 10 or 15 years ago, and Stone is like, no fizzy yellow beer, know.
Yeah.
And now
fuzzy yellow beer.
Yeah, or fuzzy yellow beer. Nobody wants that either. But now they're making, fizzy yellow beer. Because consumers are now saying, hey, like, I buy craft beer. I don't buy a 6-pack of IPA and then a 12-pack of PBR. I only buy craft beer.
Yeah.
So there's some voids that need to be filled. They're filling that with more flavorful lager. So, and it's both. It's you can't separate it. Is it the beer drinker, or is it the brewer?
Yeah.
Because they breweries are businesses, so they inform each other a little bit.
I agree. It's certainly not separate. I just sometimes on my side of the table, it's always easy to ask about the consumer, right? And what about the consumer, and what are they telling you, and what are they? But I'm just agreeing with you. The brewer had to grow up too.
We've reached a point of maturity in craft beer where we can stop being like, we're not like our parents. We're different.
I do feel though, there are breweries out there that are producing some great beer. There are also some breweries out there that are kind of doing the shock factor with, let's put some weird stuff in the beer. That has its place, I guess. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, except that for me and Jim, I think in our business plan, and this was kind of the philosophy, I guess, of Ol Republic Brewery, was we want to drink beer that is really great to drink. We don't necessarily want to talk about it. We don't necessarily want to...
Me neither.
Right? But it's, and I think that's just as important, is that we can sit down and talk about this Vienna if we want to, but we can also not and just drink it and enjoy it.
It fits into the scene, and it's not obstructive.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important part about who we think we are, is that we're that beer that you can sit and talk about and have a great conversation about, or you sit and have conversation while you're drinking the beer.
Yeah.
You don't have to know the whole ingredients list to even begin to like the beer. I can't tell you how many times I've tasted a beer and gone, oh, God, that's awful. And then the brewer or the representative says, oh, well, it has these 9 ingredients. I'm like, oh, actually, that's pretty good for having those ingredients.
From that much stuff.
If you hadn't told me that, there's no way I would find anything of value in this beer.
So, Simon, I got to get back to this, what I call capping the fermenter. You had a German name for
spoonding.
Spoonding.
Yes.
Every time I hear that, it sounds like you're spooning.
I know. Yeah. It's great.
Which is also a very nice thing. So,
it is.
Yes. Makes the beer better.
Yeah.
So I assume somewhere in the ferment you make a judgment call, probably based on the gravity that it's...
It is, yeah.
That
absolutely.
it's at, okay, now's the time to
It is this cool little piece of equipment. It's the baddest thing. So where you normally have your blow-off on the fermenter, we have a secondary valve on it. So what we'll do is we'll close off the main blow-off valve.
Well, so now all the gas stays in the tank.
And it's like kind of this little sort of weird thing that has a bit of plastic on it and some and some water in it. And it's like basically like you can dial it in.
So you'll set it to a certain PSI.
You can set it to a certain PSI. It's exactly it.
Yeah. Volume, whatever.
And it will then obviously build up pressure in the tank.
And then it'll blow that off.
And it just blows it off. And it's like just very, very light.
Now what about,
very light.
My understanding is that as the pressure builds in the fermenter, the yeast reduces its activity.
Yes.
That's the price you pay for doing this?
Well, when we do our bunging, we actually drop it to 45 degrees anyway. So we're actually already setting. Yeah, exactly.
But it's got enough fermentation to go to get
Absolutely.
It keeps perhaps going. The volumes in this Vienna lager, this is like 2.5 or 2.5,
2.6, something like that.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
Very environmentally conscious. You don't have to have a CO2 delivery.
I know.
But that's probably in the true German old style, right? They didn't have a CO2 delivery, right?
In fact, they'll even capture the other CO2 as well. They'll do the capture it as it's fermenting, which is not a new technology thing. I'm talking about an old way to brew. The Germans will capture the blow-off and then do the spoonding after that.
Yes.
Spoonding.
And you should look up what the piece of equipment is called. Is just spoonding apparatus.
Of course it is.
And it's like, it's like this long. The word's like 47 letters or something.
Smoosh.
I feel like I should do our Adam and Eve ad right now, the spooning apparatus.
Only if JP does it with his spooning.
All right, well, can we learn a little bit about the ingredients in the Vienna before we move on to the wheat heavy?
Obviously, I'm having to recite the notes here because I can't remember it all. Vienna malt, of course. Pilsner and some Munich. Really, that's pretty much it in the malt bill. And then, of course, all noble hops.
And just because I'm a newbie sometimes when it comes to these, the Pilsner malt is actually the majority of the malt, even in the Vienna, right?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I think
it takes quite a bit because it's really low lullabond to get this kind of color.
I think the Munich is pretty heavy, and then the Munich is kind of adds a little bit more of the color. But the Pilsner is probably, I would guess, around 20 to 30% of the grain bill.
What's the Vienna malt?
Vienna is another base malt.
But what percentage is that?
That's probably much bigger. That's probably going to be in that sort of 60% or so.
So that's where I was confused.
But there's a lot of
I
color
thought even in a Vienna, it still would be less than the...
So we don't, when you go to a brewery and they've got their big silo outside and they got 45,000 pounds of raw in there or whatever it is. I think we have 7 base malts that we use for our beers.
Wow!
So we are very much picking what we feel is the correct base malt for that style of beer that we're making.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of not having a silo.
Yes, it is. Yeah, but it's more expensive to do it because we're buying it by the bag, of course.
Okay.
But I think it makes what it does for our complete series of beers is it makes them all very individual.
Yeah.
When I'm drinking the Celtic Red, to our Pub Ale, to our Lucky Joe, which is our English IPA. They all have different base malts.
Got it.
And it makes each beer be completely unique.
See, this is what happens when you have homebrewers who know what the fuck they're doing open a great brewery.
It's true.
That's a very homebrewer thing to do.
Is.
Is
It
to
is.
not
Why
just
not?
have a house.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah.
Why not?
In fact, this is why too.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
The brewers must be yoked.
Yeah. And so, speaking just of the malt bills so far, you mentioned that this one's maybe a little bigger, a little more robust, a little higher in alcohol, right? What adjustments to maybe a traditional malt bill happened to do that?
I think part of it is that when we first made this beer, neither of us had ever made a Vienna.
Okay.
So this was a new experience for us and a new beer style for us. And we were already open as a brewery, so then we're thinking about our customers and what they're going to maybe want to see. This was also, I think, one of our first Project X beers as well, so we wanted it to be spectacular.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of other things going on. And when we started looking at the Vienna recipe in general, we're like, okay, yeah, I think it needs to be. It's got to be more.
This is what we did too.
Yeah,
by the way.
But at the same time, but restrained. We kept this. I think this is just right around 6% alcohol, so it's just enough that it's outside of guidelines as far as what a Vienna should be.
Yeah,
but not by much.
Yeah,
it's bigger. It's fuller flavored. There is more hops by the pound in this beer than there is in our English IPA.
Really?
Yes.
No shit.
But it's all Hallertauer and Tettinger and low alpha, and
so just
you
compliments.
got to put a lot of it in to get anything coming out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's something about this style that lends to that, because we had the same attitude, and I think that is that the Germans, the Austrians,
yes.
the Austrians,
the Europeans,
the Austrians, they had it right. Vienna Lager is the style that leaves you wanting more.
Yes,
all of those little subtle characteristics, you're like, oh, that's so good. So when you go to design your own, you go, yeah, but that part's so good. We should have more of it. Which is what we did, and it sounds like it's what you did. Every time. Yeah. But
sometimes the good parts are how delicate they are. And
I agree with you.
Hard to find they are.
Yeah, Jim and I.
Making them bold sort of takes the mystery out of it.
I agree. Yeah.
Jim and I talked about this a lot. Was that when you're drinking a beer, when you have a pint of beer in your hand, and you start. And it has a freshness to it because you haven't had it yet. And then you get a little further down and it's warmed up a bit and the flavor changes a little bit. And then you get to the bottom and you're now done with that beer.
Yeah.
Then what happens, right? You need to leave that part that says, I want more.
I agree with you.
And so we really focus on that when we're making our beers, which is why I think most of our beers are very... We really focus on the malt. I mean, hops are important, obviously, but really the malt is where it's at.
Because at the last swallow, it's all about the malt.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what we kind of focus our beers on. So when we're doing our beer styles, we're really focusing on beers that have that malt presence to it.
Yeah.
Like our Scotch Ale, like our ESB, like our Celtic Red, which is a classic Irish red ale.
Yeah.
We're looking at those beers that have that malt body to it and that malt wanting, when you get to the end and you're just like, damn, I want another one. I want another one.
Well, it's like in the drinking hoppy beers. A lot of times you're just going to get another hoppy beer.
Right.
Because your palate is so pasted with hoppiness.
Yeah.
You need any more liquids, right?
Yeah.
to dial into the malt and want more malt, that's a much better feeling.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Scotch Ale, I think that's what we have here too, right?
Dark matter.
The dark matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I've tasted it already now, but I've been avoiding this one because it's not my favorite style. So I saw it on our menu earlier, and I was like, it was actually before we put the other beers on, and I was like, shit. I hope Kevin's going to put on some other.
I have to drink a Scotch Ale.
Well, it's not that I hate it or anything. It's just
it's not your jam.
So
You're
I've been
the pale ale
avoiding.
guy.
I've been avoiding this one.
Yeah.
He's a beer racist.
It's pretty damn
I'm
good.
a little racist about the beer. It's fantastic.
It's really
and
good.
especially after the Vienna Lager for some reason. I think it was we did this in the right order, and it has some kindred spirit to the malt character of the Vienna Lager that I'm tasting, and it doesn't have a lot of the wee heavy stuff I don't like. Which
it's not a wee heavy.
It's not.
It's
okay.
a Scotch ale.
Scotch ale. Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So you know the whole shilling thing, right? I mean, you want to get really confused. This confuse the shit out of people right now.
It doesn't even take
the whole
much with
60
me.
shilling, 70 shilling, 80 shilling, wee heavies, all that crap, and it's like it confuses the hell out of me. And I'm from the same bloody country.
Yeah.
You know? So this beer is one of our. This was our first or second, I think second or third version of Project X. Wanted to do a Scotch ale. I'm a big fan of Scotch ales, but we wanted to make it interesting. Hence why we made it black. And it's evolved, this beer. When we first made it, it was in the mid 6s. It's now upwards of 8+% alcohol in this one that you're drinking right now.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really come across, but it's got a lot of alcohol in it. And then this is also, we've been starting this Project X where we've been building a beer and making it and then splitting half of it off and putting it into barrels.
Okay, nice.
And so we really had some fun with this one. How many of you guys all familiar with Lafroig whiskey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So we put 15 barrels of this into Lafroig whiskey barrels 2 months ago. It is insane.
I bet.
It is.
Still in the barrels?
Yes, it is. It's been in there for about 2 months now.
Okay.
And Jim's hilarious. He's like, he'll come in the morning. He's like, I've been thinking about that beer. I've got to go taste it. I've got to go try it. I've got to go try it. It's
calling me.
It is. It is. And he thinks about this beer all day long. So we go back pretty regularly to try this. It is extraordinary what the Lafroig barrels are doing to this beer. That is making it complete, filling it out, bringing out the flavors, because there's some peated and smoked malts in this beer anyway.
Yeah.
And that beautiful Lafroig ballsiness that comes from that whiskey and that seaweed and the likes of comes through in this beer, but it completes it, and it's all the way through, and we are very excited. And like I said, it's still in the barrels right now, so it's basically flat, right? We haven't carbonated it or done anything like that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an exceptional beer when it's done. But I think it's going to be one of those things like Lafroig. You either like Lafroig or you don't.
I see.
Right?
I see. Yeah.
You know? And I think this beer is going to be like that. I think there are going to be people out there that are going to say, not for me.
It's bold. It's going to have a strong...
It's going to be very bold.
Okay.
And I would love when it's actually bottled up and ready to go to come back down here.
Yes.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a yes right there.
Yeah.
I'm all about that, dude.
But along those lines, so we've actually got our Bière de Garde, which is a French-style farmhouse beer. We've got that currently in brandy barrels.
Okay.
So what we're focusing on with our barrel aging program is not throwing everything into a bourbon barrel and calling it good.
Yeah.
We're kind of focusing on what the right barrel would be for that beer. And so we've got some really fun stuff. We're doing a Imperial Baltic Porter that is going to be in St. Croix rum barrels.
Okay.
With a little fig as well. So that's going to be really fun. So we're really starting to have some fun with the barrel aging thing.
And again, with subtle, I know you're saying some of these are bold flavors, but these are also some subtleties.
Yes.
And not just throwing it all in a Jack Daniels barrel or anything else. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this one, I don't know. I really enjoy it. If I'm remembering the style right, because like I said, I kind of avoid it. I think some of the things I usually don't like are like a cotton candy flavor that can come, I think, from tasting the 8% alcohol and the malt, and I don't get that in this.
Right.
To me, it tastes...
Also, by the way, peat malt, I fucking hate it. In fact, there are times that I wonder why it exists on this planet. And I know that so many people disagree with me.
Yeah.
I can taste the peat in your beer. And I actually like it.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if there's another flavor that's complementing it, that's changing it for me. Fairy dust. It might be that.
Yeah.
Because normally, as soon as I pick up the peat, like, that's it for me. But I'm picking it up and liking it. There's something countering it.
It's almost like toasted coconut.
I wonder if it's just there's that kind of that roasted, even like a pale chocolate kind of roast level to it, and I wonder if that's kind of chiming in and maybe crushing the sweeter notes of the peat and kind of drying it out. Or to me, it's this very roasty, but not very roasty, like I said, like a pale chocolate thing.
I agree with you on that. Yep.
And so it kind of takes the top down, like cuts the top out and just limits how much it can go, and kind of hollows out the middle.
I think you're right, because like I said, I'm getting the characteristics, but yeah, I think chocolate's a great. I think that might be the counter.
Is there chocolate in there?
So this beer, you think about it. Most Scotch ales have that peaty character, that smoked character, and yes, it needed to be there for it to be considered to be a Scotch ale. But it is berried, and yes, we are putting some other, because obviously it's a black beer, so we are putting some darker malts into it to give it that color.
Yeah,
and certainly the chocolate malts are a part of that.
Okay, yeah.
But it's for us, it was I think actually there's something. It's ridiculous. It's like 12 malts in this beer.
Wow.
And some of it is just for color. Some of it is just for the peated side of it. And so we're very, very, but there's probably only a few percent, of the grain bill that's going into that.
Okay.
So we try to keep it. Jim and I always talk about those flavors that you have should be present, but only just. Yeah. And it's not about when somebody drinks a coffee porter or chocolate whatever, and it's all in your face, and you're like, oh, yeah, no, there's chocolate in there for sure, because they've overdone it. And so for us, it's all about the subtlety of it.
Yeah.
Like our Bière de Garde has spices in it that are locked away in a cabinet that nobody will ever see except me and Jim, because it's that secret.
Yeah.
And they're there. And we could all sit here all day discussing what they are. And if you could maybe get it, but you'd be here for a little while trying to work it out. And I think that is a big deal for us, is about having that subtlety in the beer that makes the beer individual and makes people think about it. They're thinking about the discovery of the beer. The discovery of the beer while they're drinking it is, what is that I can taste and I can't put my finger on it?
Your beers, I think, do that for me.
It really surprised me when you just said that there are 12 malts in this beer, because that's something that I think a lot of brewers, and especially home brewers, get wrong when they approach the style. They're like, okay, Scotch ale, it's going to be a festival of malts, so I'm going to put a lot of different malts in there.
Yep.
And then they go too heavy-handed with all the different specialty malts.
Yep.
This is very streamlined. There's a lot of focus.
Yep.
There's kind of a beginning, a middle, and end, and there's these slight accents that kind of fill it out and make it really bloom.
Well, I would imagine, and without looking at the recipe, probably 8 of the malts are probably less than a few percent each.
Okay.
They're very, very small, just accent malts. And I think that's really kind of where it comes into it. Right. Jim has this amazing ability, and I know, Tacey, you know Jim, and you've been around him a little bit. He'll sit on the grain, right, and he just sit there and chew it. And he'll just chew and chew and chew.
You got to have great base malts.
Oh my God!
If you don't like how it tastes.
But not only that, he has that remarkable ability to be able to break down flavors. You give him a pile of food, and he'll be able to tell you, "Hey, can you taste this and this and this?" And they were using this when they were making it.
That's
it's
great.
an extraordinary ability that he has, and there is no doubt that when we're designing a beer, he is definitely the guy who's in charge of doing that. I'll just say, it tastes good or not, and he's the one. No, this is why we're doing this.
So that's probably a skill he developed in the wine.
And also he's
and food, I assume.
He was a professional chef as well.
Right. So palate is developed. You can develop that a lot of ways. For sure.
Yeah, and it's extraordinary. Watching him come out with a beer design is pretty cool.
Well, hearing you talk about this beer as I'm tasting it, and me, figuring out that I like the peat malt is making me think of something. And it amazes me sometimes how slow I am to think of things.
2 + 2 is 4.
Because every brewer in the history of this show and probably in beer has come in and talked about layers. Like, we layer. You have to layer the flavors. You have to layer the flavors.
It's almost like saying balanced.
But what I don't think I've ever thought about is like the position of the layer in the way that they, the stack, right? The stack of layers. And this beer, the fact that I'm liking the peat malt and the where the chocolate plays is just making me think about that. It's not just layer. It's great that it's complex and it's great that it's layered. It actually matters where in the layer, where on my palate, I guess, those flavors showed up. And the fact that the peat here seems to be somewhere in the middle for me. totally works for my palate, as opposed to a lot of the beers I have where the peat and the smoke is on the top layer.
Right.
And then I don't like it. I take the first drink and it's on the top layer, and I never get to the bottom layer. So, I don't know. I'm just thinking about I've never thought of the layers in that way as a brewer. It's not just what the layers are, but where the hell they show up.
Where they are, and also in the time that you're drinking the beer, too. Like I said, when you drink it at the beginning, it's colder than when it's at the end.
Right.
So there's all these different things that are starting to happen with that glass of beer as you're drinking it. And also, when you're getting through that beer, then you're getting a little alcohol glow going on. So then the way you're thinking as a beer drinker is changing as well. So there's all this other stuff that's going on.
Yeah, your palate like adjusts to the beer. It's well adjusted towards the end.
Yep.
There's flavors, like you said, that are hidden in there that may appear. Because it warms up as the carbonation drops out.
Yeah.
No, the beer changes a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and not to mention that most Scotch ales, I think, for the style, don't have the smoke malt. You get a lot of that from the ester, from the yeast, right? But you guys are driving that flavor.
We push that in there on purpose. Yes.
Yeah, and I like it, and it's very complementary to the rest of the flavors that are going on. You can really, that's one of the malts you can go. A little bit goes more than you need to do.
You have no idea.
But it's very nice. It's very well done. It's very different. It's a very different Scotch ale than I've ever had.
Well, I think that's why we decided to make it black, because I think even when it was originally being developed, it was never ever going to be a BJCP Scotch ale, right?
You didn't care.
It was never going to fit within that, and so we're like, well, screw it, let's just make it black, and then we're completely outside of guidelines. We'll never have to enter into a competition.
Yeah, good call. You made a good beer out of it.
Thank you.
Well, they're all wonderful. We're running out of time, but JP, you can come drink at the Hop Grenade now for the next few days, because we have all these great Ol Republic styles that you enjoy.
I do like it, man.
Yeah, a lot of lagers and some UK styles, not European.
Well done. Yeah. Thank you for remembering.
Oh, yes. Right. They're the buffer. They protect us from the Europe.
That's right.
I've met other Brits before. I know how they work.
I know. We're assholes.
No more than the U.S., my friend.
That's true.
Wonderful beers. Thanks so much for being with us, Simon, and for making great beer in California.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us here. And hopefully next time Jim will make it.
Yes.
And we can maybe talk about some of these barrel-aged beers in a few months.
That would be a great thing to talk about. Especially, we can compare the two. Doc's into it.
Yeah. I'm sure tell Jim we talked about it. That'll make him listen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, he has been listening. I've been getting texts from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't mention this.
No, seriously, I got a whole list of things. He's like, you didn't mention this. You didn't mention this.
Shit.
You weren't supposed to mention that.
Well, I'm about to mention the website. If there's any events coming up or something, but you can go to that's olrepublicbrewery.com, and you can actually read about all the beers that we've talked about on there. And then there's a whole page about the Project X as well. It's a really well-informed website. So go check it out at olrepublicbrewery.com. And if there's anything coming up you need to mention.
Well, we have our anniversary party coming up on March 18th.
Okay.
That we do as a car show.
Nice.
So that's one of the things I didn't get to mention. If I've got a moment, Jim and I are couple of race nuts. We have a land speed racing car that we take out to Bonneville.
Wow.
So if Jim was here, he'd probably be the fastest brewer that you know.
Wow.
So he has a license to drive up to 200 miles an hour.
Piston or jet?
Piston engine. It's a 1954 GMC straight six. Turbo with a supercharger on it, pushes out about close to 700 horsepower.
Nice.
Holy shit!
It's a 200-mile-an-hour car.
Yeah,
I can do that.
We go out there and we have a lot of fun doing that too.
Has at least 2 horsepower.
Yeah, but that's what we do when we're not making beer. Is we go race cars.
Okay.
That's cool, man.
That's fun.
I know.
You guys are kind of living the dream up there in Nevada City.
Almost, yeah. It's close.
Except for work for a living.
Yeah. And then we had a little bit of rain the last few days. So.
Oh, yeah. Were you guys okay through that? Or?
We got through it okay. We had a few fatalities as far as buildings up there and a couple of accounts.
Kidding.
Yeah, there was some flooding and it got a little rough.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, we've had some. Now the rest of the country is like, oh, it rained. Shut up.
Right.
In California, it's different because it hasn't
rained in like 4 years.
It hasn't rained.
It's true.
So that shit just turns into rivers up here.
Yeah.
And the hillside slide is mud and take out houses and towns and everything else.
Yeah. Ironically, I was in New Orleans as California was
dealing with floods.
Over here. All right, go to olrepublicbrewery.com and check it out right now. You can read all about the beer and the things we've been talking about. And then also, I just wanted to remind you that our good friends White Labs have a great program, the Yeast Vault. If you haven't heard of it yet, check it out. It's a collection of yeast strains that White Labs has been curating for more than 20 years, and some of the strains have never been available until now. You can go to whitelabs.com/thevault and check out the current list and pre-order the strain you want released. So you can go over there and browse through. You'll see all the strains that they're working on there, and it'll tell you basically once they get to 250 orders on a strain, they'll put it into production, and you can look at it and see how many orders are left, so you know when it's going to happen, and then it shows up at your door. So go to whitelabs.com/thevault and check it out. All right, Simon, we're going to get out of here, take a little break, come back and do some beer news. Thank you again for...
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
I appreciate it. I hope we can come see the brewery one day, and if nothing else, please do bring us those barrel-aged beers.
Well, I will.
That would be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can't say no to that.
Okay.
All right, folks, we'll be back. Hang in there. It's The Session. We got some beer news, and we're going to catch up with Nate and Nicole while we're at it. It's The Session.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
With over 20 years of experience making world-class craft beer and more than 100 gold medals in international competitions, Moylan's Brewing Company is not just a pretty face in craft beer. Just ask Brendan Moylan.
What do we got here? The beer of the hour. Moylan's, gotta love that big M. It's like a sign of awesomeness. Woo-hoo! It's got an extra kick to it. Let's pour this bad boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Moylan's. At the end of the night when the kids are finally in bed, the wife's in bed, nobody's bothering your ass anymore, that's Moylan's time. Moylan's is for you. Yeah. It's to help you out. Yeah. It helps me out.
What?
Well, because it's freaking awesome. Northern California brewed. It's brewed with love.
With love?
Oh, yeah. Tremendous. And it's always best where?
Moylan's.
You gotta try it. On tap at Moylan's in Novato. They're friggin' awesome. Not only because I own the brewery, because I love the beer.
Cheers!
Boom.
Kilt Lifter Scotch Ale takes big beers to a whole new level with rich malt balanced perfectly with delicate hops, and now comes in 4-pack tall boy cans so you can take the party on the go. Or come to the brewery, take a tour, and try any of Moylan's fresh creations right from the source. Check them out at moylans.com.
BN Army, have you heard the latest at Hop Tech? Since Hop Tech has doubled in size after a huge expansion, Jade and Roberto can stock even more of the best quality homebrewing supplies and equipment. Over 60 kick-ass varieties of hops and malts, monster truckloads of quality brewer's yeast, including White Labs, Y-yeast, and multiple dry yeasts. They even have all grain systems from Grainfathers and Ruby Street Brew Systems, thanks to Jade, the brand new all-grain brewer. And don't forget about their 10% discount to all BN Army members. Jade and Roberto are waiting for you and all of your brewing questions over at hoptech.com. Hoptech, totally not sucking since 1983.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zainashev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
Hey guys, what'll it be?
I'm not sure. What do you recommend?
A lot of people seem to like the Hefeweizen.
Is that a German Hefeweizen or more of an American-style wheat beer?
I'm not sure, but I can give you a taste.
Okay, great.
The Cicerone Certification Program certifies and educates beer professionals in order to elevate the beer experience for consumers. Unfortunately, not every bar is staffed with certified beer servers who can guide their customers through a beer list.
Here you go, guys. Let me know what you think of the Hefeweizen.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely more of an American meat. But I can hardly tell because this beer just smells like sour butter. I wonder how long it's been since they cleaned the draft line.
Yeah, and look at the bubbles on the side of the glass. It's filthy.
Somebody should tell these guys about the Cicerone program.
For sure. How about we head somewhere else for another beer?
Your server should give beer the same respect you do. Request quality. The Cicerone Certification Program offers 4 levels of beer certification, in-person classes, and course books for beer professionals. Check them out at cicerone.org. The Cicerone Certification Program. We know beer.
Hey, this is Julian Trego from Beechwood Brewing, and you are listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
All right, thanks to Ol Republic Brewery for being on the program with us tonight and sharing some really awesome beer. I'm a new fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I knew of the brewery, but I think I just had sort of dabbled in their beer before.
Well, it doesn't get really this far too much. We're kind of lucky to have it here, I think.
Yeah. So that was really good stuff. Thanks for sharing that with us. And what do I have to do here? Oh, Adam and Eve. Nate and Nicole. Coincidence?
Speaking of Adam and Eve.
I don't think so.
All right, give her the
Let's
copy.
see if I can actually get through it this time.
This one I actually just have to read the text. They have a new thing here. But
it's like all in caps. It's very important.
Adam and Eve is determined to help you spice things up in the bedroom, and they're backing up that promise. So check it out. Go to adamandeve.com, and you'll get 50% off almost 50%. Any item. That's right. Just enter coupon code BNARMY at checkout. And that's a good deal in itself, the 50% off one item. But backed by popular demand, and for a limited time only, you're also going to get a free Big O kit. Yeah. Nicole,
is that like the O face?
Nicole,
kit?
what do you think the O stands for?
Gosh, I just don't know.
It stands for O.
Yeah. If you were talking to Taryn, it would be omission. Because,
because you're married.
Yeah, right. She doesn't get one of those things. Only I do.
Adamy's Big O kit includes their exclusive Climax gel and a mini vibrator. That's right. Is a mini vibrator a good thing, or I guess?
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You need options.
Indispensable.
Yeah. My experience, this beer is always better. You can just use a small part of it.
That's your experience, yeah. Just use the tip if you need a mini.
It hides well in the purse.
Yeah, but you can't
like
just go, walking around. But a mini.
Well, that's true.
Purse,
that's
right?
true. You can roll with that and not even know.
Did it ever come out on your purse?
I wish that the look on Nicole's face could translate over radio. Because actually, even though we're talking about dirty stuff, it actually was like the cutest, most innocent look. And just
she doesn't know anything about this. You're blowing her mind right now.
It was bull. It was like this. It was like this sweet, innocent look that was like, oh yeah, I need the mini, but not in a creepy, dirty. It was very sweet, actually.
Well, and it's also like
she's got to know what she wants.
The most like beaming, like bright face. Like when she smiles and laughs, it's like okay, she's very happy. But this is like projecting pure energy to you. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to describe it on the air. But okay. Anyhow, let me get through the thing. So mini vibrator. Carry on, Nicole. But so now, by the way, the next sentence is, so now you've got a new way to get her off.
Well, they're raising the bar here.
That's a weird sentence.
Yeah.
Get her off of what?
I don't know.
Off of your ass.
I'm gonna buy it.
I feel like if it's me getting her off, I'm gonna grab the big one, right? I'm gonna.
You're doing it wrong.
Like a shoveling snow.
It's like a battering ram. That was the motion Justin was just making in the studio.
I'm like digging a trench over here.
It's like when the cops come to bust the door open, like that kind of thing.
Being made clear that Kate is so lucky.
And I feel like the little one's for like alone time. Like I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, well, the big one has the two D handles on it.
One in the back and one at the top.
Oh
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a two-man job.
I think the little one is for alone time. I think you're right.
I'm like, Doc, I need help over here.
I bet because the little one, it doesn't get in the way of.
Oh, you can hide it in your palm.
You can just have it involved.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
There's multiple things going on here.
Simultaneously.
It's like a side dish.
God,
yeah, it's like a garnish.
Oh, like a little helper.
Parsley. Let's call it the parsley.
Just a little helper.
It's the parsley. But they should change it from the big O.
No, because nobody likes parsley.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Like, I would just rather grab the big one. Like, I would build like the trebuchet of dildos, where it like whips
Only
it around.
lesbians would use that.
It whips it around and drives it real hard. Like, just get it over with.
I'm like at this point where like equal parts of me wants to be a fly on the wall while this is all happening, and I also never ever want to hear about this or imagine it or think about it again.
Oh, it's in your brain, isn't it?
Because
right
you
there.
can be
Some things you
sure
can't unimagine.
The trebuchet of dildos is going to come up again.
Trebuchet.
All right. Well, let's see. You'll also get your entire order sent to you for free. So hurry. Take advantage of the limited
Nothing makes me
offer.
hotter than free shipping.
Choose a new adult toy, a naughty movie, or almost anything else. And when you choose that, you'll get 50% off, get free shipping, plus the Big O kit, which includes Climax Gel and the mini vibrator. So you're not going to find this deal anywhere else, except possibly on another podcast or a radio show. Use coupon code BNARMY, BNARMY, at adamandeve.com.
All right.
Do you like when I call out our sponsors for their weird, copy?
I'm sure they
You're
love
like,
that
that was a
When
weird
it doesn't
sentence.
flow.
Because I don't like treating. I always want to treat our listeners with respect. So when it like says things like you're not going to find this deal anywhere else, but meanwhile, like
everybody knows that.
I mean, I hope you use our deal.
Yeah.
And that's why Adam Eve has been so good to us.
With the better deal.
I'm all about it.
We're looking out for the listener. Help us out. Order use
technically,
but I'm just
they're not
saying,
gonna find
like,
it anywhere else.
I just don't want to say things like it's not anywhere else. I guess you don't get the same.
It's not the same code, so technically it's different.
I guess you're right.
Well, we're not
That's how
salesy.
I should look at things, Nicole. I like you. See, Nicole's glass is half full.
It sure is.
When they ask, when they say 50%, 50% off of almost anything. Everything?
Almost anything.
Yeah. What's the stuff that's not?
I know. I'm
How
so
good
curious.
is that shit?
Yeah.
They can't discount.
Like
I must want that.
That's the butt plug to zero.
I should ask them to send me the list of things that aren't,
that aren't on the...
I'll just tell them, hey, I just want to have some fun with it, make it part of my read, and I would like, what is it, like an inflatable donkey?
No, it's that dildo with the D handle.
The one, the trebuchet.
It's probably like one of like the life-size dolls, like the real dolls.
Oh, the $6,000 ones?
Oh, the real... Oh. Are those on Adam and Eve?
I don't know. Look, I only just learned that those existed, so no, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
No, really.
Honestly, Bevo is the Adam and Eve pro around here. She knows that site better than anyone in this studio.
I literally have never purchased.
I didn't say you purchased.
Oh, you're still
I have gone to their headquarters.
How full is your
What?
How full is your cart? How full is the cart? How many items?
Yeah.
0.
What?
I was in North Carolina.
And it was part of the
and
tour?
we were just driving around. We were driving from point A to point B. I don't remember. And I just saw a huge sign for a warehouse that was Adam and Eve. I got out. I took a picture next to it.
Oh, you did?
I sent it to you.
You didn't go in?
It would be like a cat getting a bath. Like, no. I would not go in.
What's the name of that? Bevo in a warehouse full of dicks.
I wanted selfies of you with the big dick.
Big crate of dicks.
I can see you with your feet and your hands on that doorway and them trying to push you in.
Yeah.
They get Bevo holding the two D-ring ones, like
I'd find
the battering ram.
I'll take pictures from the section that's not discounted.
You know what you need to do,
I bet
Jay?
you go to the used section.
Oh,
just
God.
Oh, Do they have? Is that a tab on the website?
I probably would go to the sale section.
It's the sale for a reason.
Pre-owned. Okay.
Right. Certified. We should
They
contact
sell it as
them
extra
to get a
jizzy.
tour of the factory.
Oh.
That's what we need to do.
That's our next BN on the road.
Please, I swear, like I'm deadly serious.
You know what's ironic is that the used section, everything is 150% more expensive.
You're right. Yeah.
You got to pay for that.
Yeah.
You got to pay for that aroma. You got to pay for that juice.
That is.
That crust.
Oh, God.
Well, how sanitary are the new ones?
Welcome back,
really?
Nate and Nicole.
Right.
I love these.
All
right. Yeah.
No, but really, we need to get a tour.
Oh, my gosh.
Make that happen. Where are they from? Where is it, Bev?
North Carolina.
I was in North Carolina, but I think they're located in other places as well.
Oh, yeah. They like to be located in other places.
Yeah,
I got people down there.
Stop it, Dom.
Dildos close to the
Drop
holes.
ship in 30 states.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Make it happen.
All right, do you guys want to do some beer news real quick?
Sure.
Let's do that. We got
wanna
some
know?
beer news.
Segue.
So a couple of things in the news this week. You know, our president-elect's inauguration is coming up.
What was his name again?
Really?
What president?
Everyone's excited.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be
The best.
Everyone's excited.
Dead.
I'm excited.
Surly Brewing Company has announced that it's embracing the two-word meme that has become popular over the last 8 years and is releasing a beer called Thanks, Obama. Yeah.
Timely.
Yeah, you know the
they're about
meme
6
where
months too
everything
late.
that goes wrong or right or whatever, everything.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obama.
Right.
Well, they're doing it. It's a beer, a winter rye IPA will be tapped at Surly's Destination Brewery starting on January 20th, Inauguration Day. Surly says the beer features a new experimental hop variety.
Of course it does.
And that beer drinkers should expect a complex, spicy malt character with candied grape and vanilla cream hop aromas.
Ooh.
It's a 6.5% beer, and they say will be the perfect beer to inaugurate your next visit to their beer hall. Reflect on the last 8 years and look to the future. And enjoy a pint with your fellow Americans. So, I don't know. I thought that was interesting to do.
Yeah, I'm about as confused as on that description of the beer as I am on how the current president-elect has gotten to this position. I'm very confused and befuddled by what's happening in the world.
We're living in strange
right now.
Yeah.
It'll be great. It'll be the best.
It'll be the best.
It'll be beautiful.
Well, Surly has already announced the beer on their website, which is only available at their tap house. But if you go to their Facebook page, where they've announced it as well, there is about 160 comments on the name.
On the idea.
And you can imagine that they run the gamut of the political
spectrum. Yeah, right.
I imagine.
So it's an interesting read if you want to go read about the new beer, Obamacare, and the comments people are making over there.
Wait, the beer's called Obamacare?
Sorry.
Thanks, Obama.
Same difference.
Okay, yeah.
Like, those two things are synonymous to me. Obamacare. Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama. Whatever.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
That is a red hat you're wearing, Jason, by the way.
Yeah. I was just
Very
noticing
nice.
how red it is.
Thank you very much. It does have white lettering.
Does it say CBC?
Yeah.
Warming up for the inauguration.
Let me just rat hole on this for a minute for no reason
Yeah,
at all.
it's a Liverpool hat. I will say, though, that Taryn's cousin, we would, on her side of the family, do a bunch of, stockings, giant, comical-sized stockings. Everyone stuffs it with a bunch of garbage, and he was
For
like...
Christmas, I
Yeah.
think. Okay.
Yeah. Just January 9th.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was Valentine's.
Actual garbage?
No, not actual garbage. But he's like, what I really wanted to do, and I couldn't get it together in time, is I wanted to get everybody Make America Great hats. And have, everybody just
put them on.
Just as a big fuck you to the entire family. I would have loved that. I would wear it. I would have worn it.
I just wanted to see you provocateur.
Yeah, I know. It'd be fun.
Without diving in, I don't want to know why or why not or whatever.
No.
Are you going to watch the inauguration, JP?
No, I don't think I've ever really watched it. I watched it once, I think, in school, but I don't really care too much.
You've seen it on YouTube, though.
I usually watch them.
Yeah?
You failed.
I find them highly emotional, actually. I find, because it's always a person reaching the pinnacle of their career and their family kind of behind them knowing that. So I'm being serious right now. Like, I usually watch them and I get all fucking teary even if I don't like the can. I don't think predict that's going to happen this time.
Yeah.
I think
the tears will happen for a different reason.
Yeah, and without even, I just think that the emotional factor isn't there because I think our president-elect has reached before the pinnacle of his.
Yeah,
he's had a different career.
He's been there. Great ratings.
He's
pinnacled many times.
Yeah, he's pinnacled 100 times. But even like, I wasn't like the biggest fan of the Bush family, but I remember like just watching them there at the crown of the thing that they spent their life trying to achieve. That shit's emotional to me. So I usually watch them.
Okay. Are you going to watch this one?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't even know
because
what
there's
it is.
no like component like that for me.
Yeah.
Bring over some Lefroy and we'll just
make me cry on.
He fired the announcer or something like this.
Yeah.
Already?
Oh wow.
Yeah, he fired the announcer. His wife just died 6 weeks ago, and all this shit. And
this guy.
He's like
my one job. He's like the let's get ready to rumble of presidential.
Yeah, he's this icon.
There's a golden
Canada.
voice out there somewhere, and he's going to find a new one, I guess.
Yeah.
Like my life's going to shit, but at least I have this announcing gig. This is what I'm holding on to.
And then you're fired.
You're
fired.
Yeah.
One more. Maybe he wanted to quit anyway.
You're super fired.
No, well, I might watch because could be a shit show.
I mean, he's gonna say something stupid.
I know, and I'm a sucker for.
Is he going to have to talk?
He's going to tweet it in. He's going to tweet it in. He's not going to be there.
It's going to be 2 hours.
He's gonna,
He's going to give like a speech.
Stupid
I would
shit.
actually really like him if he just stood there.
Yeah,
and,
140 at a time.
he's so approachable to today's youth.
That would be amazing.
He's like, I got 30 million fans. I want to make sure they're following along.
Yeah, so
they may not be available to watch. So
I just want to make sure everybody's watching.
Like normally there is a person for the deaf next to, but there'll just be a person tweeting every word.
Somebody
he says
tweet
for
exactly.
Well, there's probably more tweety people than that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of protesters supposedly, so there could be some fireworks.
I know that's why I think I might watch is to see what shit goes down.
Yeah.
I can watch that on the news later on. I don't need to be like.
Yeah, you can get the highlight reel. That's true.
Yeah.
I'll probably be at some bar drinking with people that don't care.
All right, let's do a couple more news stories real quick.
Oh, it's in the daytime though, right?
According to the West Coaster, which is out of San Diego, Green Flash Brewing Company laid off 25 people this week. Their story is interesting. The West Coaster story, I mean, because when they published the story, which was actually back on the 11th, they said earlier this week we had heard rumblings coming out of Green Flash about layoffs. So they talked to a few sales reps for comments, and were told the sales rep said that like numbers are up, but not where management wants them to be, and the Virginia Beach Brewery has exhausted a lot of financial resources.
So were they layoffs on the sales side, or did they they clarify where?
Well,
then the West
between the
Coaster,
lines here, numbers are up, but they aren't where they want to be. It means that they expanded. They can make more beer. They can sell more beer because they have more beer, but they're not covering the nut,
right?
The overhead.
Well, but check this out. There's a weird little twist here because when the West Coaster reached out to Green Flash for an official statement, they were actually told there were no layoffs. There will be no layoffs. But then, the evening of the 11th, I think, when this was published, the West Coaster learned that Green Flash had, in fact, laid off 25 employees from accounting, marketing, events, and brewing operations. So those terminated were given a severance agreement with a non-disclosure agreement, strongly suggesting that they not talk about this matter publicly and in a disparaging manner, with the incentive that the company will not be challenging individuals' unemployment insurance claims.
They fired him.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to challenge that. Okay.
I agree. That's exactly what I was going to say, Tasty. Yeah. That you don't have to incentive. Fuck you with your incentive.
That's some the man shit right there.
Like, don't you fucking deny it all you want, and then when they come investigate and find out I was fired, right? I'm going to get my fucking unemployment.
So, I mean, basically, it's blackmail. You be quiet, and we're not gonna oppose your unemployment, which is your right that you've been paying into, or not you've been paying to, but you've been a part of this company that's paying into. That's kind of that's a fucked up thing.
They could tie it up.
Maybe it's severance, not unemployment.
Yeah,
well, it's both.
No, you can
severance, and that's different.
You can definitely tie it up.
You can sell yourself out for whatever for
a while.
Exactly, it's probably severance.
The getting of the.
Yeah, you can tie it up for a while.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. If as an employer, if you were to balk at it and
but it's even more of a waste of your time to tie it up. just out of spite. Fuck you.
Well, yeah, to get people to keep quiet.
Well, if you're talking blackmail, yeah.
Severance was the other part of this sentence, that a severance package was given as well.
Yes, that makes it a little different.
Well, but they included both of the things in the statement. I would hope that the severance was more lined up to...
You can agree to and sign.
Keep everybody happy and quiet. Sorry we had to let you go. Than the we won't dispute your unemployment.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because when it's a good company, I don't see any reason you want to have anything bad to say about it. They went through a down period. And
seems like a weird thing to
you're
say.
You're not on the FS crew anymore.
It's probably a standard legal procedure. They wrap the severance kind of stuff in, though. I think that's not unusual to this instance.
I didn't have any bad feelings, but should I have?
What are you trying to mean?
Yeah. Is there something I'm not paying attention to?
Right. Well, so I read a little further into the story, too. There were some other comments where some of the employees that were laid off were saying that they also weren't really given any reasons other than, quote, a business decision and, quote, restructuring or reorganizing, so it's not like they were told you're not doing your job or we're failing as a company. We need to say they were very benign, very
vague.
Nondescript, very vague about the. Yeah.
Well, that way they can't be taken for the for the labor board, and also in California we are an at-will state.
Mm-hmm. That can happen at any time for any reason.
You don't have to give a reason.
You don't have to give a reason.
Nope.
Either to fire or to quit.
You get hosed by it, where they take you against to the employment board. But we're at an at-will state, which means we don't have to prove anything. We just gotta say see you.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen other media about regional breweries cutting back in production, which of course means that sales are off. You just don't cut back because there's something to do.
So are we reaching saturation?
They're not selling it. Yeah, like they're not penetrating the market as much as they had hoped.
The total amount of barrelage that we have to produce craft beer is reaching a point where the demand is equal to what can be produced.
I don't know about total amount.
I wouldn't even go that far.
I'm just thinking if you look
at
the taps, what's on the taps,
yeah,
they're highly rotating. And if you're a regional brewery with the brand that's been out there 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years,
you can't guarantee your sales over
you're not
6 to 9
on the
months
block anymore. You're just a kid.
Yep.
Well, so some of the further things I read about this was that these other breweries being built. So Green Flash built a secondary brewery. Yeah. I think is that North Carolina where they.
No, I think that was like Virginia or
Virginia.
Delaware.
I think you're right. I think it's Virginia. Stone did the same thing, and then of course we know that Stone had layoffs last year too.
Right.
So they built those breweries based on projections.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you have to assume that the planning stages are a little longer than when we've been privy to them. Sure. So those projections came from one point about how much beer they're going to sell. And it's starting to sound like the projections were wrong.
Well, the timing's not right for them. They're going to be there. It's just not as soon as they expected. So now they got these people that they've geared up for, Fest Crew. Seemed like a lot of them for marketing. Now you need to cut back because the sales aren't there.
I hope you're right, Tasty, in that they will be there. They're just not there yet. Because there is another possibility, and that is that because there's so many opening, the small local brewery is taking away now enough of the regional brewery that the sales might never be there. So, in other words, the same problem that macro beer has been having, the large regional brewery may begin to have. Because, again, of the rise of the local brewery.
So I think if you're at like 50 to 50...
Just go out to the tap list. You're not going to see Lagunitas or Bear Republic because those are old news here.
If you're at 50 to 100,000 barrels and you think you want to get to 200, 300, 500, I think that's harder than it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So IRI put out reports recently, and for the first time, that they do mostly the grocery store sales, which is an important measure.
Yeah.
But for the first time, the growth is in single digits instead of double digits.
I see.
So, and if you think about who do you see at the grocery store, it is mostly comprised of those regional brands.
Yeah.
And their sales are slowing down a little bit because people are hearing the message. They are taking their growlers down to the closest brewery and just being a little bit more.
They want the hazy IPA from the neighborhood brewery, and
it's a more unique experience.
No, there's demand for that.
Yeah,
it's real. Right?
I've heard the number that I saw was 25. Like if you're in 25 states or more, you're going to have a bad time.
Really?
It's hard for you to maintain market saturation, maintain brand awareness because there are so many locals.
Okay.
You can have like a shot if you're in a few states, but if you're like that saturated in the market, you're in half the country, that's you're gonna or more. That's where you're going to see the most impact as far as depletion of sales.
And it also depends on what you're expecting to sell. I mean, if you look at the brands that are driving the growth, it's stuff that's like we were talking about earlier. Stuff that's replacing the light lager in the shopping basket.
Right.
They're like, oh, I'm not going to buy this Milwaukee's Best just because it's on sale. I'm going to buy this, Firestone Walker 805 because it tastes great and it's craft beer.
Yeah.
Well, when we were talking about the Lagunitas merger, one of the things I was like, well, I wonder if they're doing that because they see 10 years down the road where America is going to be oversaturated. It already is.
Yeah.
But Lagunitas aren't going to have a problem with that in America because they're already thinking internationally. They're already shipping. They're focusing on shipping to Africa. They're focusing on shipping to all these other places that have never had their beer before.
Yeah.
They don't care. I mean, not that they don't care, but they see that. I think they saw that problem. They projected ahead, and they're like, "Well, let's focus internationally. Let's sell. Let's get able to do this to be able to sustain a growth in the double digits instead of just worrying about how we're selling beer in Kansas."
I agree with you solely based on the amount of weed that Tony smokes. How could he not see 10 years into the future?
He smokes so much weed. He's a soothsayer. He
is not on our plane.
Right?
Yeah.
No, he's
on the how much beer am I selling in Mexico plane.
Right. Literally in the air going to Mexico to check on the beer.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's the second time we've heard about layoffs in less than a year's period
I see where
of time.
Great Divide come back on production.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little less barrels sold this year than last, I think, was... But they did a portfolio refresh, which is probably maybe
Might have
part
set
of
them
the
back a
reason.
little bit. It could be just a lag.
All those
market.
things. I mean, I think, and once again, I think that's that. They're at about 50,000. That's that number where it starts to get a little bit tougher when you want to go into 20, 30 states or more, right?
Yeah, it's
I
hard
think
to keep
that's
the
more
supply chain
complicated than
all
it
that,
used to be, right?
There's
so many local regional players that are making great beer that people buy. It's harder to be the guy from the outside.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I would do in this climate if I was a regional or even smaller, like regional brewery or small brewery?
No, but I hope you'll tell us.
Fucking sell out.
Yeah.
like a mofo right now. Sell. Why worry about it? Why keep stressing about the market? Oh, my God.
Well,
Go sit on a sailboat.
We're at about a year from the Ballast Point deal, which was one of the biggest.
Yeah.
And there haven't been any quite that big
he's
since.
Doing? You know what Jack's doing?
He's probably on a sailboat.
He's on a fucking sailboat.
Well, and Constellation is having super growth. They're having a great time.
Yeah. Not on sailboats, though.
Not on sailboats. Maybe, who knows? They may be building the sailboats for Jack. You don't know that.
They're putting in their own distilling company as well.
Yeah, they kept that.
No, they lost that brand, but they got the wherewithal.
I thought Ballast kept the...
Yeah, Ballast kept that.
Okay, that's...
I thought you were talking about Jack left the company, right? Or you think Jack's still with the company?
I think
Yusef and Jack got bought out, right? No?
I think... I don't know this, so I hate to even say it, actually.
Yeah,
I thought that Jack and then Yusef and those guys kept control and ownership of the liquor brand.
No.
That they did not sell Ballast Point spirits.
No, I think they had to leave that there. That's what I thought.
Okay, you might be right. We should look further into this before.
Because now I know Yusef started a whole other
broadcasting it internationally.
Oh, really?
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, then that lends to the... Yeah, okay.
He's got cocktails and cans. He's really he's knocking it out.
But that's under the Ballast name.
Those.
No.
Oh.
It's his own.
Okay.
Oh, okay, good. Maybe they're better than the Ballast ones.
Because I had a Ballast Bloody in a can.
Yeah, did you like it?
Oh, wait.
I had it, and I thought it was...
I didn't have. This is how fucking stupid I am.
Okay.
You had it.
I had it.
And we had a discussion about it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that I had it.
Brain.
Wow.
Perfect.
It's like having a surrogate drink, right? This is great.
It's the weirdest thing.
I tricked myself.
All right, well, how about
I've had 1,000 beers. Well, maybe.
Did you try to calculate how many beers you've had?
No.
No. Okay.
We're terrible.
Yeah, don't do that.
No.
You want some good news in the beer industry?
Yeah, what's happening? Yeah,
Our friends at Society raised...
Good guys.
I love those guys.
They gathered over 23,000 pounds of food in their annual food drive.
Oh, man, what great customers.
Listen here, Curly Wolf.
Society Brewing Company's 2016 holiday food drive, which they've been doing since 2013. They're proud to announce that donations raised for the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank was 23,153 pounds. Now, that equates to 11.5 tons of canned meats, soups, fruits, vegetables, and beans, dry cereal, macaroni and cheese, spaghetti, peanut butter, powdered milk, infant formula.
It's all my favorites.
And will provide 19,294 meals to families in need throughout San Diego.
Whoa.
Now, to give you an example of how this drive, how society has grown this food drive since 2013, in 2013, the brewery raised 263 pounds of food. This year, they raised 23,153 pounds of food.
Nice.
3 years later. So how cool is that? And it's for their local food bank, so they're doing something for their own community. And I just thought that was really cool. They did some cool incentives, by the way, to do that. So they took some skin off of their own back to make it happen. So, for example, there's a beer that they release, one of their barrel-aged beers, which you can only get at the brewery, and I think it's about a $55 beer. But they told people, if you bring in over 50 pounds of food, we'll sell you that beer for $5. So it's this highly coveted beer that people come line up to buy. That's exactly. I'm saying they got in the game too, and gave away this expensive beer that's highly coveted. People get in line for, but they say, yeah, you want to get it for $5? Bring us a bunch of food.
Nice.
Everybody else who brought in any amount of food got $1 off of beers, and so they participated as well. And then through promotion and really encouraging people to do it. What an amazing increase between a little under 300 pounds to
that's a ton of
almost 24,000 pounds.
And
It's
then
like 10 ton.
they permanently lowered the price of one of their beers too.
Really?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
As part of a charity, or just
As part of this,
Oh,
like,
they did.
like
Okay.
if we hit a certain amount of donations,
oh, nice.
we're gonna just lower the price of this beer in perpetuity.
That's awesome.
That's nice.
So I thought we could use a little good beer news.
Yeah, that's great. Very positive. That's uplifting. Thank you.
So
those guys are awesome.
They're great guys. What a great charity. Wow,
I actually don't really like them at all.
Thank you, Jason.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
Tell
you.
Dougie that.
Much appreciated.
Those guys know how to pick out a pair of shorts, I tell you.
I do have one more piece of beer news.
Is it going to be sad again?
No,
good.
Actually, not at all. I finally thought that I'd give us our own scoop before somebody scooped us.
We got bought out.
Although I think somebody scooped us.
We finally got an exclusive?
This is Hop Grenade. So,
all right.
You like the scoop?
You hope you could scoop that.
Yeah. The BN scoop. I'm dying. No, I don't think I've done this on there. I feel like I'm a stoner now. My memory's going.
That's what I was saying earlier to Doc. We're like, what the hell's going on with Justin, man?
I know what you're going to say. You haven't, I don't think.
Okay, good.
Is this new news?
It's new news. Here's the scoop. The Hop Grenade is opening our second location in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Nice.
Yeah.
Woo!
Which
Good
we're
territory.
really excited about.
Lucky those guys.
You know what? It's a good little town. I think we have a lot of fans out there. Colorado's a good beer state like California. Yeah. And we found a location there. We're hoping to be open in June or July 2017. So, listeners of Colorado, you're really who I'm speaking to. We're coming to your hometown in Fort Collins. We're going to be at
brewers, because you'll want their beers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, some of you, Tasty, JP, all of you, everybody in this room, you might want to start thinking about who in Colorado you want to do a collaboration beer with.
I'm down.
And maybe
I want to do Joyride.
I want to Joyride. That's a good one. Big fans of ours.
True.
True Brewery.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In
True.
Denver.
In Denver.
The
Okay.
metal brewery.
How come you get the metal brewery?
Yeah.
Take it, Jason. Take it, Jason.
No, us, all of
No,
us.
do it, Jason. Do it, Jason.
I figured we would be traveling around, going to different ones doing it as a group. I don't need to do it myself. I don't know those guys.
Yeah,
but
there should be some grouping happening. Yeah,
for sure.
And then go get some beers made for our grand opening and things like that. We'll pay for you guys to get out there. That was my plan anyway. I'm a big fan of Funkworks, so I want to go to
delicious.
I want to go.
Funkworks Saison.
Never.
Yeah, I was going to call those guys and see who wants to do some collabs for us to, bring us into Colorado. But we're going to be at the Foothills Center in Fort Collins, which is the opposite opposite side of downtown, so we're not all in the college downtown scene. It's much like this, actually, back in a little suburban area. There's a park out front that does concerts in the summer.
Nice.
And, JP, they actually turned the concert grass into an ice rink in the winter.
Oh, cool.
So there's something happening year-round, and I know how much you love to play hockey.
Drink beer and
I
break
watch
your
it. I
legs.
don't play it, but I'll break my neck for you. There you go.
Yes. Video.
Again.
We'll get some skates on, JP.
I'll
It'll
break
be
my
great.
shoulder for you again. It'll be great.
Nothing pairs with IPA like a compound fracture.
Yeah, I've
Tell
actually
me
been
about it.
meaning to announce this for several weeks now. Just the moment never arrived, and I was doing the beer news, and I thought, why not make ourselves news before we get scooped?
There you go.
So Coloradans, send me emails and let me know what's cool there, what beers you want to see, and we start construction, I think, next month.
Will there be a studio?
There will not be a studio. There will be a room. There will be a room called the studio, which will function.
Is that like the green room?
As a private event room and also just like a chill lounge, which will have a TV, a giant TV broadcasting our shows from here to there when we do our live shows. And then, yes, on occasion, we will go do remote broadcasts from there, which normally I'm adamantly opposed to because it's work. But there are so many great breweries in Colorado that how can we not go do some shows from there? So that room is designed to be able to let us set up temporary studios, but we just won't be there often enough to take up the space, you know.
Yeah.
But we'll have even more taps than we have here. I think we're looking at 25 taps of beer.
Square footage?
It's larger. It's about 3,000 square feet, but there's also it won't be open in phase one. We're going to do this as phase two, but a rooftop bar.
Oh, those are cool.
Oh, beautiful.
Especially in the
We were building out the whole thing at once, and then it's a cajillion
One
dollars.
step at a time.
So I put the kibosh on that. But eventually there will be a rooftop bar overlooking this courtyard that we have, and bottles of beer as well, except that state law in Colorado is different, so you cannot take bottles to go like you can here in California. So here we can sell to go, but we won't be able to do that.
Do they do the growler fill thing in Colorado?
No.
At bars? Nope.
No.
They don't do that either,
Yeah,
right?
so as a retailer, nothing to go like that.
Got it.
So we can't
Drink
do that
on
either.
site only.
Which is okay. I mean, growlers would be cool in some states. I'm sure you'd make a killing on it. Good for cash, but... it's also kind of difficult.
It has
to do,
its own
difficult
problems.
to do, right? Yeah. So no, we're just going to do our thing. A lot of great beer, both local beer, and then we'll try to get our California friends on tap. Where maybe you can't find that anywhere else except for there at the Hop Grenade, and patios outside like we have here. The whole thing. So,
we think it open by summer, maybe.
That's our hope. Right now, we're actually fairly on schedule. So if we get the building like we're supposed to in February, then, we'll be open by June.
Nice.
So knowing how things go, I would probably call that opening end of July or August.
Before GABF.
That's just how things happen, which is cool, right? Like before GABF. And I think I told you, Tasty, like if we do that, we'll do the shuttle up to the
we'll grab a bunch of people.
Get a bunch of brewers and listeners and all that and just do a big event up there. So... anyhow, I wanted you Coloradans to know I'm excited about it, and I hope you are too. We're going to come. I know that the homebrew scene in Fort Collins specifically is a really big and engaged homebrew scene, so I'm excited to engage with those folks. I mean, not really, but kind of.
I am. When I get there, I want to speak at the Homebrew Club. I'll come by.
Oh, Tasty, we're going to line up
We'll get 'em out there.
your media tour of the,
we'll
the
go out
second
there.
location
There you go.
opening. Yeah.
Sure.
We'll get you all lined up. All right. That's all I have for beer news, other than to let you know that beer news is brought to you today by Beersmith, the Beersmith homebrewing software. You can go to beersmith.com and check it out right now. Get your free 21-day trial. And, download everything that you need and check it out for free, and then you're going to love it, and you'll never go back. And there's videos to teach you how to use it. There's a podcast. There's DVDs you can order. You name it. Everything you need for the best brewing software on the market is over at beersmith.com. Please go check it out right now and support our great sponsor. Thanks, Obama. Yeah. All right. So, Nate and Nicole, what's happening with you guys? We haven't seen you in a minute.
It's been a minute.
It seems like a year.
We went to Belgium in December. It was
you
a good
did?
time. Yeah.
For Christmas or
for Christmas?
Nothing bad about that.
You hate your families?
Well, you know.
Actually, Nate's mom came out and met us.
Mom came and met us out here. Yeah, it was cool.
Forced her hand there.
It's better than hosting on either side, either my mom or us. So
give me the highlight reel.
We went to a Christmas beer festival in Essen, Belgium. Kerst Beer Fest.
This is this festival that I've heard about forever.
Nicole's friend.
It always happens on the weekend of my birthday, and I've always been like, oh man, I've always wanted to go to that. It'd be cool. Check out all these Belgian beers.
Like you think you're never going to make it?
Yeah, I met one of the organizers when I was judging beer in Portugal last year, and he was like, "Well, why don't you just come?" And I was like, "Huh." Why don't I just go? It's kind of a weird time of year to play hooky because it's like that week before most people take off for the holidays. So it's usually a pretty busy week. But this year I was kind of looking at my schedule and said, yeah,
you can
let's do it. It's my birthday. Let's go.
Nice.
So
yeah, it was a cool trip. It's a very civilized fest in the sense that I've never seen a fest set up where there was just a table for everyone to sit down.
Oh.
So you can get a sample of some like 50, 60, 70 Christmas beers or more. Mostly Belgian style. Hundreds?
There are hundreds.
At least hundreds,
like,
yeah.
Like 300 or 400.
Both the tap samples and bottle samples of, sometimes aged beers, sometimes fresh beers, everything from American style IPAs to everything that you'd expect from a Belgian dark strong ale, Christmas style beer.
Probably a lot of strong beers in general. That's a rough.
Beers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
great festival. They really organized it well, and I think like actually having a table and like a home base to sit down and sort of hang out and talk to the people that are sitting around you was a nice twist on a beer fest. I'd never seen that format before.
Beer festivals are a little different in Europe anyway, and then this one's even kind of a special one. So Essen's a small town on the border with the Netherlands. So you kind of take the train up, and there were
Antwerp's the closest big city.
We took the train up from Antwerp, which was nice. Like, almost everybody on our train was going to the beer festival, and they have transportation, and they take you over. It looks kind of like a middle school gymnasium. It was that was kind of the it's called the
I've been to beer festival.
Hula Hall.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you get there and everyone's in this little civilized line, but it's a short line, and then they start letting you in.
Getting civilized thing.
Yeah,
we're not that way here.
Everybody's all
it's
orderly.
A knife fight. No.
You go in and they give you a brochure. They had a brochure for with descriptions of every single beer. So it's put on by this beer tasting club called Ober, and they taste every beer and approve it to be at the festival.
It qualifies to be.
Yeah.
And there's a paragraph description of each of the beers.
Okay.
So you can read through that and decide.
So they had that in Flemish.
Really cool.
English. I think they also had it in French. So they have, this whole booklet that they give you. I think I have it with me. And so you go find the place where you want to sit, and you got to meet your neighbors, and you have your glass, and you go. There's no lines for beer. They had plenty of volunteers, and you just go get your glass full. You give them a chip, and go sit down and enjoy your beer and talk about it with other people, and it's just different.
It's civilized.
The format that worked well because the beers are really strong.
Yeah.
You got to kind of pick and choose what you want, and
So
there weren't
that
that
makes
many.
sense,
There weren't that many tokens you get by default. And there's only so many 13, 10, 12% beers you want to sit and drink.
Even in a small pour, yeah.
And it was about a 4 or 5 hour fest.
It was 5 hours.
5 hours,
it was only €20, and you got 7 pours, and then you could go buy as many more pours as you wanted.
You would buy more tokens or something like that.
Yeah.
Which one have you got? Shitface.
We did okay.
Yeah. Made it standing up through the whole thing.
Did you stay there, or did you take the train back?
That
to
wasn't the
Went
question.
back to Antwerp.
Yeah,
I'll take the hit. I think I was more hammered than Nicole was. Yeah.
We made some friends.
Way to
with,
go, man.
There was a Lefroy barrel aged beer that I really liked.
Oh,
I forget
nice.
exactly who the
Had to
brewer
have
was.
4 of
It was
those.
really nice. Yeah, I think I had to have 2 of those. So I probably didn't need 2 of those.
We made friends with some native Antwerpers, and we took the train back with them, and then ended up at this brand new beer bar there called
into Antwerp.
Yeah.
Cool.
For the Love of Beer. No, that's the movie.
He was drunk, don't ask.
Beer Lovers Cafe.
Beer Lovers Cafe.
Yeah.
That's all coming back now, Nate.
It is coming back now. Thank you, Taster.
So
It was-
were you
it
able
was
to drink on
very-
the train on the way back, too?
No, that was
No,
probably a good thing.
good thing we didn't.
Oh, that was a good break.
Some of us did. We went and had some food, and we went to Beer Lovers, and it was cool. It was more American / Scandinavian style,
Cool.
sleek, and then not the traditional Belgian beer. This is the glass size. You could get sample size and stuff. So kind of interesting to see
Yeah, that idea is taking hold in many places around Europe. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was a new place with sort of a new format, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. And you guys stayed mostly in Antwerp, or?
So we spent some time there, and then the first night when we were there on my birthday, we actually went to Het Anker. So they make the Gouden Carolus beers. If anyone out there has had that,
A little bit north of Brussels in Mechelen.
Yeah, Mechelen,
Yeah, okay.
and it's a brewery there's been a brewery on that site for hundreds of years, and that brewery has been in continuous operation since early 1800s.
Nice.
But they have a hotel on site, and you can get do the beer dinner thing, and they have the awesome restaurant there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
They have a big spirits program. I didn't realize that until we visited.
Yeah, a lot of the Belgian breweries are doing
like it's haunted,
spirits.
or
No,
God.
spirit, distilled alcohol.
Waka.
It is kind of haunted. I feel a little different after being there. I don't
It's
know.
right,
It's
that
sort
was-
of
Probably
possessed.
is haunted. I mean,
It's a
if
few
you stay in
hundred
the
years
right-
old, right? Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
part of the building.
Do they make the spirits there, or you mean they just have a great program for presenting?
No, they
murder people in the back room.
Yeah.
They make it right there. Yeah. They
No,
would take
distilled
you,
spirits
JP.
and barrel
It's
aging and
actually a
whatnot.
snuff film studio.
Yeah. They'd be like, this motherfucker's going to haunt people if
Right.
JP walked in there.
That's true.
You come in the back.
Yeah, they're going to change the name to Spiritual.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend visiting there. If you
That was really
walking
easy because you can
through.
stay on site.
Het Anker, Anker. So it's the beer that makes the Gouden Carolus.
Okay.
Cuvée Van de Kaiser.
Okay.
All that good stuff.
I think I've had that.
Yeah, and then definitely the Kirschbierfest is one I would add to your bucket list. It was really great, and I will definitely seek opportunities to go back there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but Tasty and I are on the international beer festival scene now. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. I think we're invited back next year.
The celebrity booth at every one of those.
And these international beer fests are interesting because they are different than ours, and that's fun to see.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the Norway event.
Yeah.
It was like a rager in a way. I mean, more compared to what you went to. We'll have a place to sit.
Yeah.
There's not any place to stand there.
it was a rager, but still different than the way we rage. But yeah, there was no
white trashy.
I didn't make it to the after party on Saturday night at that event. Did you get to that?
Saturday night.
I was having breakfast. With Brian Strunke, and he said it was like the biggest rager he'd ever been to. Were you for part of that?
I did make it there, yes. I did make it there. And, it was like they just they locked us in a warehouse because of the noise.
Yeah.
Lock in.
Brought in a DJ. Everyone's
noise.
smoking and drinking
There's
and
a lot of
raging.
other
and,
extras. Yeah, there's
it got gnarly.
extras there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a club
Sounds
party
awesome.
beer festival.
It's like for the brewers.
Well, this was the after party just for the brewers, and
Nice.
and you weren't allowed to even bring like the volunteers. Like they're no, the volunteers have another party a week from now. This is just for the guests and the brewers, and
What beer fest was that?
the What's Brewing Fest in Norway.
Nice.
And
sounds beautiful.
they were very nice to Tasty and then but they're also they kind of a note out of the Firestone Walker book where they're also very nice to their brewers and their guests. So there was a
Don't die. Your cigarettes are falling out.
I know.
As I showed.
Went to
exactly.
several pre-parties.
Not only a starter dinner, but then this final party, and all kinds of things like that. So it was a good time.
You get treated well. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
When you go so far away, good to be cut in the middle of it. It's cool.
Sure.
Yeah, they didn't send hookers to my room or anything, but
well, you can't talk about that.
Really?
Confidential information.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's put in your contract next year.
I thought that was in the contract.
You don't even have to pay for my flight. Just send hookers to my room. I'll figure out the miles.
You can put that when you go to the next festival before you agree to it. You can put that in there, right?
Tall Norwegian hookers? Come on.
Blondes. Got to be blondes.
Who doesn't want that?
I don't think they'd like to be called.
They're all blondes.
Sorry. Working girls.
Pros.
Professionals. Whatever. Otherwise known as my fucking date. All right? That's all I want is a date.
Escorts.
Yeah. All right. Nicole, you ready to end on that note?
Yeah, super great. Feeling really good about coming out to the show.
What did you expect? Right?
Yeah, this is such a good decision. I knew I missed you guys.
Some things never change, Nicole.
Nope.
Now, look, at least you always know what you're going to get with us, right? It's not like we're full of surprises or anything.
Can't take the gross out of gross.
I think sometimes I forget. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, enough time goes by and you just remember the good
Why
parts.
haven't I been on that show in a while?
You're like, I love those guys. It's so nice.
You're like, I haven't talked about hookers on the air often enough. I need to go to the Brewing Network and do that again. It's been a while.
Kind of cleanses you, doesn't it?
Good point, Nate.
Yeah.
It's a cleanse.
Doesn't pay attention.
All right, we're off next week, but looks like we have Jester King in the studio coming up the week after.
End of the month.
Nice.
Cool.
That's exciting. Yeah, they're going to be in the
looking
studio.
forward to that, yes.
Yeah, it's after that beer...
Beer Advocates having
Rate beer.
Rate beer is
Oh,
having
the
a
Rate Beer Fed. Yeah, nice one.
It's probably right after that, yeah.
I think that I know that Rate Beer asked me to host their awards ceremony.
Yeah.
And then I think I never got back to them.
There weren't hookers in the...
They saw the blow clause and said, no, we can't do that.
Yeah. Joe's his name.
Joe Tucker.
Joe Tucker.
He was on the show. He likes us a lot, and he likes me, and he asked me if I would
he's right. You'd be a good MC.
do that. Yeah, he wanted me to MC it, but
Crazy beer.
You got to drink
at
the
that
Rate Beer
thing.
Kool-Aid, though.
But now, do I answer him now that it's like
a lot of
2 weeks away?
Now that you've talked about it on the air,
do I go like, hey, Joe, sorry I never got back to you, but do you still need
Are the phones
that-
working? Can we just
that
call him right now?
MC?
I'm sure
Yeah,
that they
why don't
have
we
it
call
all
him and
nailed
have it on the
together.
air?
I'm sure
Probably
they.
do.
No,
I'm sure they.
just hit him up for a comp or something. Like,
Bevo, cue it
blow him
up.
off.
Yeah, sorry I never answered you, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
You got any, you got any
Is that
tickets
offer still open?
to the festival? I think I just didn't want to do it in the back of my head, so I just swept
You're
it.
not ready.
I'm
Well,
not
your
ready.
schedule's so busy.
I'm not ready. He specifically was like, I want you to be like the Billy Crystal of the beer award.
Short and unfunny? I don't
was
understand.
like, oh, I got to like write out.
Tell Joe.
fucking-
No, that's not
like
good.
sing a song.
That's not good.
I want to see Justin
Little
sing
medley.
a song.
Well, that's also nobody, right? Like, who would
Jazz
they get
hands
for that?
and all.
That's nobody at
I know,
this
that's why he
level,
called me.
right?
He was like, this idiot will do it.
Yeah,
Well,
and
it's
if you don't do it, then they're like, oh, well, you just want someone to
We'll just
MC,
go back to the
like,
dry.
entertain. Get out of town.
Call him up just to ask what the contracted perks are.
Yeah. Are there? Okay.
I don't think you want those Santa Rosa hookers.
After every break, After every break, they're just going to hold up signs and rate your performance.
Yeah, I would love that.
They're low mileage.
Well, actually,
oh, come on, that was a good one.
Rohnert Park is like the porn capital of Northern California, which is right by Santa Rosa, so you can probably get some pretty decent strains.
Hookers and porn actors are not the same thing. Yeah.
Sometimes they can be.
Not
that's
really.
For sure.
Hookers are everywhere. You just got to look.
You just need 30 seconds to find out.
All right, so we're done.
And we're done here.
Why? Because Doc's giving good advice finally?
Finally, Doc knows what he's talking about.
I didn't know Doc was awake.
We haven't gotten a good tip out of Doc in years.
That's true. Neither has his wife. Whoa!
Too soon.
Forget those lager tips. This is the good
enough.
stuff.
All right, we're going to get out of here. JP's going to take care of it. It was good to see you all again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks with Jester King.
Ding, ding.
Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Simon from Ol Republic came in to talk about lagers, layering, and racing. Hit up olrepublicbrewery.com and learn more. Merge your love of Disneyland with your lack of engaging podcasts and go to earsuppodcast.com as JP, Terrence, Bevo, and Taryn talk about all things Disney. Go check out Moscow's Hop Cartoons over at hoplifestore.com. Get on Twitter for some good beer insight and homebrew info, and follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew, Mike McDowell at Tasty McD, JP at Major Jip, and Warren is stuck somewhere in cyberspace over at Another Beardy. Today's show is produced by Bev, and your host has been Justin Crossley. Be sure to find the Brewing Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
JP's an asshole. Justin's a nice guy, and when